Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Alpha League Season 7 Group Stages. My name is Slow Wolf. I am your main, well, I guess producer, of the stream, but I'm also only one of two casters today. Joining me, I've got the one, the only, the T.O. Erover. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. I was going to wonder if you were going to do the full spiel of just who is playing today, but as you haven't, I guess I will.
Go nuts, dude. It's a hell of a matchup.
Guys, we're in for a treat here. Group stage of Alpha League is coming to a close on Monday. And what a way to end it than have the Season 5 champion rack up against the Season 6 champion.
Yeah. And it is not only going to be a show of skill, but it's also going to be a show of, can someone actually beat Morty? Is it possible? Can it be done? So I'm going to go ahead and actually run a poll. Do you think Morty's going to die? Is going to be the tough question here. At this point, it'll be a moral victory for Lockjaw if he can actually manage it, because EtomChin's list is nasty as hell. Now, that said, Lockjaw isn't playing as such of a list either. Dark Angels have been wrecking things back and forth all day long. They are a hugely popular pick this season. And Lockjaw is easily one of the stronger pilots of them, but we'll have to see. His AdMech play was stellar. Despite making an error on his list, he managed to take it to the end. This time, I mean, he knows a lot of lists. Everybody kind of knows what Dark Angels do, but not everybody pilots them or practices them as much. So they aren't just a brain-dead list to play either. Neither of these are. So we'll have to see what happens. To start things off, though, we got a couple of questions for you and a couple of things we want to announce. I want to go ahead and just make sure that everybody understands that this is brought to you by the Alpha League, or the Warhammer TTSWH40K community over on Discord. You can check us out. The music has been produced by Argo Fox for our intro and outro. I'll make sure to go ahead and let you guys know where to find that, but it's on YouTube, and I'll let you guys know at the end of the stream as well. And yeah, if you guys want to go ahead and check out our Discord, we got lots of people there that mentor how to play on TTS and how to do all that stuff, so it's well worth your time. That said, it's up. We got a 10-minute poll. Go ahead and check it out. And let's take a look at these lists as well. The lists for today, you can go ahead and just ask in chat and you shall receive. I will eventually show up with one of these. There you go. You got your Mortarian Chowder versus Dark Angels list, and both of these lists have been seen on the channel before, so we don't have to go into too much depth about them in order to understand what's going on, but we will go into enough depth that everybody will know and understand the lists. Let's start off with, in the red corner, we got EDT and his Chunky Chowder list. This is a 3-detachment special with a Supreme Command detachment, a battalion of Death Guard, and one tiny, or patrol of Death Guard, sorry, and then one tiny wee patrol of Word Bearers, just to, round out the list. This is nasty and has worked wonders over the course of the tournament so far. Let's take a look. To start things off, hey, look, it's Morty. What do you know? It's the big guy himself. He's going to be turning off your rerolls, walking into your lines and ripping and tearing everything that he finds. The guy is an absolute monster. To make him work properly, we got our patrol of Word Bearers. These guys are important because the Sorcerer can effectively auto-cast Warp Time. So our Sorcerer here has Diabolic Strength, Prescience, and Warp Time as the 3 spells that he has access to, and the Marcus Sinch to be able to use the stratagem to cast an extra spell. It's nasty, okay? Warp Time is really good, allows you to move twice. Prescience allows you a +1 to hit throughout the rest of the round.
Yeah, so he has the Tome as well, so that gives him +1 to cast on all his powers. So he's taking the extra relic, the Chaos Stratagem, so the Tome gives him +1 to cast on all those spells as well. And what you were saying about the auto cast of Warp Time, so if you fail it, the Word Bearer strat basically lets you take a mortal wound and count as having cast the power on the minimum warp charge as well, and it can't be denied.
Yeah, which just makes it gross. To fill out the rest of that detachment, we have 9 Chaos Cultists, cheap, cheerful, and largely expendable, but good for screening your backline. And then we have 1 Chaos Spawn, wherever he's hiding. He might already be on the board, to be perfectly fair, but I'm not entirely sure where the Chaos Spawn is. He's in the list somewhere. He's just there because he's fast. In our Vanguard detachment, for our Death Guard here, we've got the Ferrymen being brought together by a Demon Prince, the Prince of Demons. He's got wings, he's got claws, he's got a sword, he's gross. He also has the place called Gothilla for a bunch of extra mortal wounds just in case. Bringing up the troops, we got 2 squads of Poxwalkers. Again, cheap and cheerful, but certainly a lot tougher than these poor little cultists, and about the same number of points for something that's easily 3 times as annoying. We got 2 squads of Death Shroud Terminators. These guys absolutely slap in close combat. They're very difficult to remove, and they're strong at what they do. We have a Foul Blight spawn. This guy is must-take in most lists, as is the Tallyman, which we also see here as the 2 Fetid Virions, taking up one of the elite slots. The Foul Blight spawn is particularly nasty for its ability to remove your charging status if you charge within range of him. And he also has a disgustingly good flamer. D6 auto-hitting shots at strength 7, AP -3, flat 2 damage. Rerolling 1s to wound is really, really good. It's just a nasty combination. The Tallyman guarantees a bunch of CP pretty much, and also has a bunch of extra bonuses to like bolters and attacks for -1s to hit. We have 2 Fetid Blow Drones. These guys, despite what they look like, are in fact armed with the Flesh Mower. It's effectively a rolling pin that you would use to normally bake things, but in this case it's used to absolutely murder anything they touch, as they are covered in spikes and demonic energy. They rip and tear through Primaris, they flatten pretty much anything that's chaff, and they're extremely durable. They make for great walls, blockades. You can expect to see these 2 go along with the Demon Prince to create a front all on their own, so to make a turn 2 pressured advance to go alongside Morty here. And then finally in the back line, we've got these 2 Plague Burst Crawlers. And these Plague Burst Crawlers are great. They shoot from long range, they have great anti-tank with the entropic, lasers effectively. They're called cannons, but they might as well be shooting lasers. And then they have 2 Plague Burst Mortars. Now, the mortars themselves don't need line of sight, which means that you actually have the ability to pick off those light, tiny backfield objective holders. It forces your opponent to kind of commit something reasonable to the back line. We saw what they could do in your game, Erever, against the Dark Angels player you were up against. I forget exactly who it was. I think it might have been.
It was Kiri.
It was Kiri, yeah. They did some really good work. They blew up a Whirlwind turn 1, which was lucky, but they can honestly be a threat. So yeah, these Plague Burst Crawlers are very strong. What do you think about this list now that we're seeing it for a second time?
I think it's great. I love what he's done here. All the synergies work so well together. Obviously, Warp Time, Mortarion, throw Mortarion in turn 1, give him -1 to hit. Be like, you've got to deal with this guy right now, while my drones and my Death Shroud are moving up the board. So deal with Mortarion, and if you can't deal with Mortarion, I win the game. And then even if you do deal with Mortarion, I've got the second wave of threat coming in. All the while, the 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, as rightly mentioned, are just pounding away those mortar shots. You've got the strat to make them damage-free. You've got a strat to extend their range. They're seriously good. And there is a lot of casting as well. The Psychic phase is mental. You've got the Sorcery, you've got Mortarion, you've got the Demon Prince, you've got a ton of powers in this list. It's active in every phase of the game, which is fantastic. And people think, well, I'm just going to kill your troops. And it's literally your entire fire base has to go into Mortarion for a couple of turns to deal with him or to fight him in combat. You're not touching those 2 units of Pulse Walkers and that unit of Cultists at all.
Yeah, the Mortarion alone is worth a lot of attention, but then to back it up, you have another Mortarion's worth of damage and durability coming out of the 2 Fetid Blow Drones and the Demon Prince. Running up the other flank. And it's relatively quick. Not to mention, if you try to push closer to their objectives and sneak around the side, the Death Route champions are excellent goalkeepers, able to hold those backfield objectives against pretty much anything in the game. Taking a look at the secondaries here for EDT, we've got Engage on all fronts, While We Stand We Fight, and finally, Raise the Banners High. Interesting choices. What do you think about those?
So when me and him were talking about Death Guard builds, we find that While We Stand We Fight is one of the easiest to bake into your list, just as long as you have it on the correct unit. So here it will be the 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, which probably aren't going to get touched all game because, like I said, fire is going into Morty constantly. And then even when you do get around to hitting the PBCs, they're still toughness 8, 5 up invul, and 12 wounds. They've got that great defensive line sort of profile. The third While We Stand is Mortarion himself, obviously. Now, he can get taken down, but it's just a loss of 5 points and virtually a guaranteed 10. Engaging all fronts, perfectly reasonable. You've got Mortarion wartiming up the board for 2 points turn 1, and then your drones are covering the other flank as well, so you're going to score 2 to 3 points on that quite happily all game. And raise the banners high. One of the things he does like doing with his Death Trials is he just likes leaving them back and putting a banner and then moving them up. So that's a perfectly reasonable thing for them to do, and then the cultists can do that as well. I think the secondaries are just spot on. I should have predicted that he was going to take those. I'd virtually would have done the same with his list right now.
And raise the banners in particular for this mission is very good. We got Surround and Destroy. There are 6 objectives. I believe Surround and Destroy is a take 1, take 2. It should be a take and hold mission, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that front, though. Someone please check me. But it does mean that it is playing directly to what the Death Guard want to do, using those Death Shroud champions, as you said, to be able to hold the back objectives, raise a banner, and then move up. Means that that's pretty much a guaranteed 10 points against the Dark Angels list. And I would agree While We Stand We Fight is very, very strong here. I would agree that... While We Stand We Fight as a result is really, really good. And Engage on All Fronts works simply because of how quick and durable the front forward-facing units are, and how if those somehow all do get destroyed, there are still Death Shroud champions that are able to squeak in turns 3, 4, 5 if absolutely necessary. Then, looking at the Dark Angels list, Lockjaw is no slouch here, and again, Lockjaw, being the season winner last time, is kind of in a situation now where he's proven is going to try to see if he can't prove himself the champion of the pod, as well as the stronger out of the 2 champions in this match. Let's go through that list. To put it lightly, Dark Angels, I think, are very popular. And they are very, very strong. Yeah. So, Erever, do you have the list up? If so, would you like to go through the list?
Yeah, sure. I love how you made me do the Dark Angels one and not the one that I'm super familiar with. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome, putting me on the spot here. I love it. Okay, so for the Dark Angels today, guys, we have that almost sort of thing that you auto take, which is the Vanguard detachment of Terminators, which makes all your Terminators objectives secured just for being there and being in a circle, which is kind of cool. So in the HQ, we have the Captain in Terminator armor. He has Decisive Tactician as an order. Is that the CP form? I can't quite remember.
No, that's the +1 to advance and charge, I believe.
All right, got you. Yeah. And just Storm Shield, Thunderhammer, usual sort of stuff. We have Ezekiel. This guy is amazing. One of the best characters to come out in the book. The powers on him are insane. The ability to turn off OBSEC on a unit. The ability to do a fight last on a unit. He's just such a good character that's come out. And he also slaps pretty hard in combat, if I remember rightly, as well. And of course, we've got a bucket ton of Terminators in the list. You know, you can only win these guys on 4, permanently transhuman. Kitted out with the usual sort of Thunderhammer, Storm Shield, and then he's done an interesting take here. He's taken Stone Bolter and Chain Fist on quite a few of them. Now, I think he was sort of when he was building the list, he was a bit what if I come across a Horde? Now, these Stone Bolters will absolutely wreck any sort of Horde units that he comes across. They're, 4 shots each, can reroll ones to hit. Yeah, they're just so good at that, and that's why I took it. And then the Chain Fist, obviously, you get extra damage against vehicles in close combat. So yep, makes sense. We have the All-Star, of course, the Ravenwing Apothecary, the master of the chapter himself. Lion, go away. I am now the chapter. I am now the Primarch of the chapter. I have done more work than you ever did in the Horus Heresy. I am here. I, of course, have Chief Apothecary. I can bring a guy back every turn. I can heal one boy up to 3, and then I can heal another for a flat 3. I am the star of the show, and I am here. And I, of course, because of that weird Dark Angels jank, I get my 6-inch aura.
For now.
For the Feel No Pain as well.
For Season 7. Yeah. Starting Season 8, that's gone again. He's got his regular aura sizes. Silliness. Anyway, yeah. Love the Apothecary. But what else do we got here?
We also got Patrol, so this is something else we're seeing a lot of people take. The troops in there are just one tactical squad to sit on backfield, pretty much. And of course the Chaplain with the usual Canticle of Hate and Recitation of Focus. I believe that's the +2 to advance and charge, and then reroll hits in combat.
That's Canticle of Hate is the +2 to charge and the 6-inch Pile and Consolidate. Recitation of Focus, I believe, is +1 to hit.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And that's at range for a unit within range. And then every single Chaplain has the rerolls all hits litany as well.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, he's super popular. He's super fun to play against.
The Reliquary of the Repentant is a big deal, though. Making sure that all the invulnerable saves that are within range of him are at a 5. It doesn't matter how good they are. It's now a 5. That's very strong on a unit that can move that fast.
Yeah, that's super good. That could actually hurt Mortarion as well, because going from that 4-up invul on Mortarion to a 5-up is like a big deal.
Yeah.
And then we've got Tactical Squad, just because they're like the cheapest thing you can get. And then Elites, we got Servitors, great like action monkeys, you know, can do your deploy scramblers or whatever. And then we got the obligatory 2 attack bite squads with full multi-melter. Can give the 4-up invul, they can hit you in combat and fall back. They're a great little unit. They're one of like the all-stars to come out like their Dark Angels Codex right now. A lot of people are hyped for them. We've never really seen them perform too well on stream though. So
I think they're tougher to use than they initially look. A lot of people use them to try to alpha strike and everything, but I've come across strategies that usually try to use them within the size of the castle to keep them nice and tough. So we'll have to see how Lockjaw uses them this time. I remember in his game last time, he threw them onto an objective and tried to snipe some people, but it didn't work out so well for him. We'll see whether or not he's changed up his strategy with that.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see. Like, I know, like on paper they're great, and then when you look at like obviously like the 4-up invul or Jink or whatever, and then the abilities to, like, if they do end up in combat, you can hit your opponent back and then just fall out of combat. Stratagem is also like fantastic. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how they go, to be quite honest. I mean, the GW's web shop must be sold out of them for a reason, right? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, they're eradicators, but faster and better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, I like the list for what it is. The only thing that we commented on last time is that it is super offensively managed. The Terminators, for the most part, are using mostly weapon loadouts that are highly offensive. Not a whole lot of storm shields, not a whole lot of defense, with the exception of the Deathwing Knights. We got the multi-melters, which can do work, but it's a little swingy against somebody like Morty. The math on it when he first came out is as atrocious as people have thought it would be. I like the list a lot, but we'll have to see, because it really does depend. Can it kill Morty in a turn? And if it cannot, then at that point we got problems. Also, does Morty get the charge off turn 1? And at this point, it's going to be nearly impossible to stop because of the fact that we're at Dawn of War deployment. But we'll get to that in a second. For our secondaries today, the Dark Angels are looking at While We Stand, We Fight, Raise the Banners High, and Stubborn Defiance. You don't leave home without Stubborn Defiance. It is just too strong not to. Effectively, this objective here seems to be, intent. I love these tokens. But I imagine that the Stubborn Defiance objective is this one on the left side. However, we don't know that for sure. They could declare that later after deployment. And then we've got, engage... Wait, hold on. What were the other ones again? While We Stand, We Fight, and Raise the Banners High. Raise the Banners, same works as last time. You got 10 free points out of that, so long as you can hold on to your objectives. With all the OBSEC that Dark Angels are sporting right here, it's difficult to remove OBSEC on top of that. That should be an easy 10 points, but we'll have to see. And then finally, While We Stand, We Fight. This one I find to be a bit of a trap in this matchup, but we'll have to see whether or not Lockjaw knows something I don't. The While We Stand, We Fight is going to apply to, I imagine, let's see, Squad of Terminators. It's going to be the squads of Terminators. We got one Terminator Assault Squad that's going to take it, the Deathwing Terminator Squad that's going to take it, and then the Deathwing Knights that are going to take it. Those are your three. Unless if the Talon Master is more than I expected it to be.
Tab bikes are 165, right?
Yeah, they're 165. So as it stands right now, it's the 3 squads of Terminators. Here's the thing with making your While We Stand, We Fights the 3 squads of Terminators. You want to use them, and if they die, you lose points. So you don't want to use them. It puts them at odds with themselves. There's an internal dissonance at that point that makes it very difficult to reconcile your points.
They're going to get used because Mortarian's just going to be in your face turn 1. So they're going to get used. You know, there's no like avoiding that. You're going to have to use your Terminators. Now, if they do like kill Mortarion and they're still stood up afterwards,
right.
EDT really doesn't have much of like an answer to them, to be quite honest. The winning on force, so the better blow drones like maybe like kill a couple, like through invul, and same with like the plague burst crawlers. And like his crutch there is going to be like getting the Death Shroud like interface them, because Death Shroud really do sting when they get into like anything at all.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see. I'm liking Lockjaw's deployment like right now. He's looking to be like, where's Mortarion going? I'm gonna spread out. And maybe I just kind of like move forward and just kind of ignore him for a turn or two. Perhaps he's not like clumped up and going, Mortarion, come fight me, bro. You know, he's playing the map quite well. He's spreading out along, and he's also got units that can respond to Mortarion as well, so should he choose to go along that way.
Now, it's worth mentioning that Mortarion has been deployed in this upper right corner here, behind perfectly line of sight obscuring terrain. Something that I honestly wish didn't exist in these deployments for units exactly like Mortarion, but that's maybe just me. That is definitely just me. But this does mean that Mortarion's going to be safe turn 1. There's no way to get a shot on him for the Ravenwing attack bikes, which means that EDT is actually perfectly happy going second or first. Because if he goes first, then Mortarion will slingshot himself across the battlefield and go into Deathwing Terminators and do some serious damage. I like Lockjaw's deployment, but I do have some concerns. Again, it seems like he's deploying his stuff in such a way as to, be useful turn 1. When you're playing against the Warp Time Morty, you can't be useful turn 1, which is a shame, but you have to play for turns 3, 4, and 5. Turn 1 and 2, you're spending your entire game plan killing Mortarion. So, it's a weird one right now. I would have definitely deployed the bikes somewhere where they could only get shot at from, Plague Burst Mortars. Great. We've got that far. But then on top of that, they should all be next to the Ravenwing Apothecary, would be my opinion, to avoid any issues with them dying, getting them back up, because those are going to be instrumental for dealing with Morty. They're the only thing that'll probably be able to get rerolls against Morty to kill him, thanks to the Arbiter's Gaze Talon Master. They are... it's a shame, because the Dark Angels lists with Terminators are all based on melee, and Morty just kills melee lists. So we'll have to see how this works out. Additionally, I have no idea what the Servitors are going to do.
The Servitors are just kind of like the chumps in the list right now. He's not taking secondaries, they're relying on them. He can maybe screen out a bit with them, potentially, or just move on to an objective, but they're just not in this game right now. There's like literally nothing for them to do. So a couple of people might be wondering why the Wordbearer's attachment. Obviously, we explained the warp time, but the other little trick we did not explain was the Prescience. Now, the Prescience states it can go into any Heretic Astartes keyword unit. So you can have one of those Plaguebearers crawlers hit on 2s.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
With the mortar, the entropy cannons, hitting on 2s is unreal for those things. So having one of those do that per turn is great. Obviously, Defx is Defx. We all have felt the effects of that. Just turn off invols on a unit within 12, so that's great. The other trick he can pull is Chaos Familiar. He can swap out a power if he wants one Death Shroud of the Demon Prince to hit extra hard. He can swap it out with Diabolic Strength. Get the extra 2 attacks, I think it is, and +2 strength.
It's +2 strength and 1 attack, I think.
Alright, got you. But that's still great, though. There's potential there. If he wants to do extra mortal wounds, he can do. Obviously, he's got Mark of Zinc, so he wants to get some extra power as well. So this little sorcerer can become quite a nuisance at times as well.
And what's particularly frustrating about him is that you can use that familiar to swap out a spell on Morty.
Yeah.
Which means that if the sorcerer dies, Morty could just learn Warp Time himself. And I think that might be the single most frustrating and egregious part of this soup. Is that, removing the crux of it somehow still doesn't remove the crux of it. It's a powerful list, to say the least. And it's a powerful list in a way that only Chaos can be. Chaos Army lists are based around soups, are based around these weird interactions and these deep cuts that you can find within a codex to really bring out the best that the armies have to offer, and they need it right now. They don't exactly have a great Codex 2.0. Their 8th edition Codex was kind of lame, but especially compared to the Loyalist counterparts. And although the Death Card Codex is fine on its own, it definitely benefits having that little bit of spice tossed in either through demons or through Chaos Soup. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Some important deployments happening right now. The Deathwing Command Squad has still not gone down yet. The Talon Master still hasn't gone down yet, and in particular, the Primaris Chaplain. One of the few ways that the Dark Angels currently have in their list to deal with the defenses that Morty has. It's worth remembering that Morty has access to 3 levels of defenses. First off, his high toughness. Second, his invulnerable save. And third, his feel no pain rolls of a 5-up that he kept through the edition. Those 3 things together make him very difficult to get rid of.
You missed one. You didn't do math properly. You missed the damage reduction 1.
And the damage reduction 1, right. So he's got even more layers than that, yeah. So by the end of it, he's got 4 pretty strong layers of defense, making one of them about 33% less effective by reducing the save from a 4-up to a 5-up is a big deal. It's not the end of time, but it's definitely a big deal. And with some help, Chronatos in the chat is correct here. Adding Miasma on top of that is just obscene. The -1 to hit. So if it casts, which it should.
we're looking at Balxor as well, and he's pretty much the same as Mortarion. Like, but he just gets given -1 to hit. You don't even need to cast a spell for it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Full rules for that guy. And yeah, Miracle Matthew, Morty Soup, yum, let's war. Well, we're not playing Orcs today. We had Orcs on last time, but they're still Mushroom Men of Nurgles, so yeah, for sure.
And there aren't as many Mushroom Men as I'd like. Poxwalkers are great, but we only have 20 of them in this list. They are here to screen. They're here to, you know, be a nuisance. They're here to effectively hold objectives against something that's a little bit faster moving, like these bikes that are not in an Outrider detachment. So the bike squads having OBSEC or Outriders having OBSEC are not a thing in this case. It was worth, as a result, all the OBSEC in the list is also While We Stand, We Fight, is also, or Tactical Marines. Which means that Lockjaw's list is very, very elite heavy. If any one of those sections goes down, it's an issue. And if any of the other supporting pieces of the castle go down, what we saw in earlier Dark Angels games is that tends to pin pieces to certain objectives that they can no longer move from. And for melee units, that's brutal. It's like having a knight in the corner of your chessboard. It just doesn't have any options anymore to really strike out and do anything. We'll probably see EDT trying to pin things in place, removing items as often and as early as possible to force the Terminators to stay in certain places, and then at that point these Poxwalkers will probably never get touched.
The Death Guard kind of have the same issue, though, with like the Death Shroud, and like the Demon Prince and the Tallyman and the Foul Blightspawn. You can just end up like stranded out and be like, they're holding this middle objective. And that's it. That's what they're doing, you know. So both armies, like elite armies, as you quite rightly mentioned, can have that sort of issue, where the sort of like the Dark Angels kind of excel a little bit in that regard. Though, is the fact that they do have this Talon Master and the attack bikes to just like zoom around. Granted, Morty's dead here, of course. You know, like later on, I'm thinking like that could be pretty clutch if the Talon Master and he's got a few attack bikes left later in the game, and Mortarion is down. He will be able to. And the Sorcerer as well is dead, because more times only like a 3-inch range, so sometimes he just kind of ends up stood there twirling his thumbs and dies. So that could be an issue, and that could be something that you could take advantage of, like on later turns. Yeah,
it's not as much of a weakness for the Death Guard for the Chowder list though, just because of the fact that there are Poxwalkers, there are cultists, there are the Plague Burst crawlers that are already pinned to the back anyway and probably don't want to go anywhere near close to the action. And on top of that, there are the fast moving Fetid Bloat drones, the Death Guard Demon Prince, and you know the Death Shrouds can also be warp timed, so it's not like they're slow either. Effectively, EDT is looking to slingshot as many things into his opponent's face that cause like waves upon waves of Terminators to eventually either die or get stalled out, such that he isn't stuck pinning important units in place where they don't want to be stuck in place.
I don't think the Death Shroud are ever getting warp time in this game. Sorcerer's on the other side of the board next to Mortarion, so that Sorcerer would have to do some serious running like across the board.
Yeah, and this boy does not have a jetpack, so he is really just sitting there and going, I'm a warp time the closest people I can. That said, hey, there are Fetid Bloat drones within range there, and it's not like they can't advance and eventually get within range, maybe?
I just want to see it now. I want to see the Sorcerer run across the board for like 4 turns just to warp time and get that.
Just like booking it, you know, like occasional melta shots zipping past him or whatever, he somehow survives.
He's just saving them on his like corruption.
But yeah, good point. Being on the other side of the map with only a 6-inch move means that the Sorcerer's probably got 3 targets to cast the warp time on. The Fetid Bloat drones and Mortarion himself. Everything else, big shrug, I think. Big shrug. Right now the Deuce are pre-measuring. It seems like this is the pre-measuring to see whether or not he can multi-melt the Fetid Bloat drones turn 1, at least removing one annoying part of the list turn 1 from Lockjaw's perspective. Fair enough. That's a pretty good move that could happen turn 1. And there's definitely a possibility for it. They're on the front line, and these bikes move quick turn 1. They can advance and fire. Mind taking a small penalty, but they can effectively move into position to shoot these Fetid Bloat drones who are kind of out in the open, though not entirely. But I don't think it'll die anyway. Like, it's only toughness 7 compared to the strength 8 melt is, but it still has the -1 damage reduction. It still has an invulnerable save. And and Lockjaw will still have to hit and wound with all of these multi-melta shots. And it's six shots. It's not great math, actually, for killing off a Fetid Bloat drone turn 1. Regardless, it's EDT's turn first. So, EDT's first turn is going to be particularly important here for a couple of different reasons. One, being forced to take turn 1 means that Morty's going to have to come out and play, which means that there's a reaction that Lockjaw will be able to do. Morty's going to have to be committed to a particular flank, is going to have to be committed to a particular fight, and with the speed of Lockjaw's list, we've got options to deal with that effectively. Mind you, this also means that EDT is going to be setting the pace of the battle from the get-go. He's going to be the one asking the questions, and Lockjaw's going to have to answer them. And if Lockjaw doesn't have a good answer, or a good enough answer to the questions that EDT's list is posing, then that will likely determine the game within the first 2 turns.
Yeah, that's great. Nicely said. Like, I completely agree with everything there. It's going to be difficult for him. I think he wanted turn 2. I think he wanted Mortarion to, like, essentially get in and then just, like, deal with him and just sit on 2 objectives, maybe, like, take the third on the other side. Now he's got a bit of a rough time. There's not a whole lot that he's going to be able to shoot this turn with the attack bikes or the Talon Master. Very defensive deployment coming out from, like, both players. You know, using the ruins well, and I love the way this Demon Prince is positioned. Yes, he's out in the open, but he's lookout sword all over the show, so you're not shooting him. You know.
Yeah.
So maybe like 1 or 2 attack bites can go into a drone, and then that's literally like his shooting phase. And his movement needs to be conservative, I think here. He knows that Mortarion's coming, and he just doesn't want to feed him like a valuable unit, like right off the bat. So I think maybe just playing around like the east side of the map is probably like the way to sort of go here, and go and then react whatever he does with Mortarion. Because let's face it, you're gonna do better into like a Demon Prince and some Death Shroud than you are into like Mortarion and 2 Fire Blowjobs.
Yeah.
Oh, it's EDT first.
It's EDT first, yeah. Which is like.
Sorry, I thought Lockjaw was going first for some strange reason. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Forget everything I just said. Like. So. Yeah, we'll see what the Death Guard do then. Will he sling Mortarion forward turn 1, or can he just afford to wait a turn and just get a drone up there for engaging all fronts, and then let the Dark Angels just kind of react to what he's doing? You know, you don't have to throw Mortarion in turn 1. You can just wait. You know, it's very like matchup dependent. You're not shooting Mortarions behind that big ruin.
Sure, that makes sense. And what, like, in this matchup, though, do you think it's still a bad idea to throw Mortarion in? Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know, a good turn 1 that goes and starts ripping through a bunch of Deathwing Terminators turn 1 isn't a bad plan. Not to mention being able to remove one of the main objectives that you want to raise the banners on will drastically reduce the score of that secondary for Lockjaw's list. My prediction is that Mortarion does move forward, does get warp time, and does charge the eastern flank. But in what matchup would that not be the case?
So I'm just having a quick look here.
Sure.
So yeah, he can definitely get in like to these Terminators here and like take this objective for sure. That's a thing like that he can just do like with warp time like right now. But then all of this stuff behind the central ruin goes into like Mortarion like next turn.
I'm not sure that's enough though. Like we've seen an entire Eldar list, just pure firepower.
Yeah, these aren't Eldar. These aren't toughness free like T7 tanks with no invul stave. These are Deathwing Knights with 4 up invul, 6 up feel no pain. Can only be wounded on force. There's a big difference there in terms of like defensive stats, right?
Yeah, but then let's look at it from the offensive standpoint. Although there was an entire squad of Terminators that somehow managed to survive a Mortarion in an earlier game with Raulo, playing against his Dark Angels against the Morty Chowder like this. The Morty still lived the entire game long.
Yeah,
didn't die.
Fair. Yeah, he just didn't seem to be able to. But then again, he was rolling like hot garbage. So
he wasn't he wasn't rolling great, but then on top of that, Mortarion's difficult to kill when you've got a bunch of damage 2 weapons that suddenly become damage 1. You don't have your Righteous Repugnance rerolls that Ezekiel would normally give you. You don't have your melee rerolls at all, really. So what we've got Lockjaw kind of relying on right now is this situation where he's got Meltas that have rerolls and nothing else will, and he's relying on the pure will of Lady Luck. And that's not where you want to be.
I mean, he also has the ability to give Mortarion 5-up info as well. I'm sure EDT will be aware of that. And
Yeah, I think that's a big issue for sure. Yeah.
Does he want to trade like Mortarion for like 5 Terminators on that objective?
You know, no. That's trading down for sure. Especially because Mortarion's like a quarter of the list. And this Terminator squad, let's see, this is the one with the Chain Fist and the Storm Bolters. How big was this? Was this the unit with the... Yeah, so this is only 5 of a 10-man unit that got combat squatted. So it's not even removing while we stand, we fight points at that point.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it is the Stubborn Defiance objective, if I'm not mistaken. I don't actually know, actually. He doesn't have to... He has to just clear at the end of the movement phase for Stubborn Defiance? Or...
I believe it's at the end of your first turn. Yeah. So like at the start of your first turn,
phase,
during like before in your first command phase, you declare one of them, which is great. Like, you know, that makes the objective flexible, but it is a very strong objective as a result. And we've actually talked about how to deal with powerful secondaries in our latest podcast episode that you can go ahead and find on our YouTube. Just a little self-plug there, folks. We run a podcast on Sundays, and we did talk about those with the one, the only Trevi from Tactical Tortoise, helping us talk about that about that particular topic as well. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the answer is not get really salty about it.
Don't. Hey, if I was able to play a game where I was able to remove 5 points off that secondary, you know what? Anybody can do it. I'm a peanut. This is like it's definitely doable. So Mortarion is looking to head out here. He's moving.
Here we go.
He's hoovering across the battlefield at this point. He's made it part of the way. But where's he going? At this point, if he's moving there, even with a warp time... Oh, he advanced? Does that mean he can't charge?
That's correct, yep. Because...
Interesting.
Wait, hang on. I'm not... yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't think he has like any advance in charge.
No, he has none. So he's going to put Morty deep into this... he's going to put him on an objective. He's going to ask a question. What are you going to deal with Morty turn 2? And he's going to put him behind this piece of obscuring terrain, which is going to be extremely difficult to get around. Pretty much the same deal as turn 1, except for Morty is now chargeable via a bunch of Terminators, and I'm not sure that's a great idea either.
Long bomb charge. Like, looking at like 5 out to here, so probably looking at like a 10 or an 11.
Sounds about right. The Fetid Bloat Drones are also moving along the right side here to create a potential problem, either tying up some Terminators, which would be risky. These Terminators have Chain Fists. These are straight AP -4, flat 3 damage, which hurts like a lot. Thank you for the subscription, by the way, Nerval Matthews. Super appreciated, my dude. Every bit of money that goes into this tournament will, into this channel, will go to making sure that the channel gets better content and better everything as time goes on. So, big thanks.
You get random prizes like out in the mail for doing well in Alpha. Like, at some point.
So yeah, the Sorcerer can easily warp time one of the Fetid Bloat Drones, try to tie up these Terminators. I'm not sure that'll go well. But this Mortarion right here is currently going to be very difficult to charge. Additionally, he's going to be nearly impossible to shoot, with the exception of maybe one bike squad. And that's not going to be enough to really do a ton of damage to Morty. We'll have to see. If he was a toughness 7 still, that'd be different, but...
The great thing is like there's no way to heal Mortarion, so every bit of damage you do does matter.
Yeah.
So even if it's just like a couple of wounds like here and there, it does actually add up, because the one good thing is that you can't heal him. And I'm going to say in inverted commas right now, because we've not had like CSM book 2 out or like Chaos Demons book, you know, to just heal like a general like Heretic Astartes unit. So the other stratagem as well that we've got to mention, and this has been seen with Chaos Suit quite a lot with Death Guard recently, is the fact that EDT, if he wants to, can bring back a Terminator as well with Grandfather's Blessing, 2 CP, and you get a Terminator back, you know, one of those Death Shroud back on 1 week. You know, great strat. You know, you combine that with something like a Plague Surgeon, say, if you're playing Death Guard, and then heal that boy back up to full. You almost feel like you have an above green list. The difference is you have to pay 2 CP. You can't do it every turn.
Yeah, mind you, that seems a bit expensive to bring back one model. It's one of the...
worth it because it's the end of the movement phase, so if you're looking to just like hop onto an objective and didn't quite get your advance roll or whatever, you can use it for that.
Fair enough. Oh, he's moving the Playburst Crawler out to get a little bit of a line of attack on this attack bike. Just sneaking in a tiny look. we'll have to see whether or not that's enough. There is the apothecary within range. And yeah, that's going to make sure that the attack bikes are going to be a little bit more durable. Even against the entropy cannons, that's going to be a bit annoying. Poxwalkers moving forward. They're currently sitting in the middle of nowhere with no objectives to sit on, so they're going to have to shamble their way onto this middle objective on the east side. Left side, we have Death Shroud Terminators kind of moving forward and being a threat to Death Guard Demon Prince, asking a question of, you feeling lucky? We'll have to see whether or not we are. The other Death Shroud champions are staying back, probably deploying raising a banner. Tallyman staying safe as well. We'll have to see what EDT does with these orange Poxwalkers. I fully expect them to start marching towards the middle objective on the west side. And then the Plague Burst Crawler currently just in a strange spot. Right now the players looking like they're discussing whether or not they can see the attack bikes from the Plague Burst Crawler without, passing over any of the obscuring terrain. It seems like he can.
You can. You just see that wheel, right? You're the man with the action cam,
Yeah, let's go with it. Let's go with it. So, back end of this wheel well here. You can see there's this little back end here of the bike. Right. A first person perspective here at this point. And
the reason why the bikes cause issue is because they have no base. And I think it's, because if you've got a base, you can measure to it,
Boom.
And be fine.
There it is.
One big issue with the attack bikes right now is the fact that they don't have a base, and I don't know if the actual kit from GW comes with a base, and if it doesn't, why doesn't it?
Because the bikes are so chunky. Mind you, the ATVs don't. The ATVs, the Primaris equivalent, do not come with bases either.
But this is a game that I'm not going to get into it. It relies on model having bases. Unless your model has hull rule, it relies on your model having a base.
Yeah, or any part of the model that it stands on if it doesn't have a base. But yeah, okay. At this point, the Plague Burst Crawler is going to go into the terrain here. My question is, can it? It does fit without clipping, so that'll sort of do.
Yeah, it's fine.
So he's touching the terrain, which is going to allow him to shoot through a gap through the window, potentially also shoot the bikes. Very cutting edge play, I think, is maybe a nice way of putting it. He's looking for as many angles as he can find to try to get some first turn entropy cannon shots off, and you can just very barely, if you zip through here, see one of the attack bikes' front wheels. It's not an easy look, but hey, entropy cannons obviously shoot a 1mm thick, infinitely long laser that instantly just zaps.
It's way. Nurgle just literally yells at them and they die. That's what an entropy cannon is. So,
Seriously?
I don't know, but I think that should be added to canon lore. Nurgle just shouts at them and screams in their ears and they die.
That sounds like a far more noise marine kind of thing. Just having Slaanesh do an opera level.
Nurgle likes to party. We're having a great time in that garden. The noise marines are always welcome.
Make them noisy and stinky. The perfect roommate. Alright, so as you can see, the orange Poxwalkers
over, guys. We're looking at Psychic. He did get a CP off the Tallyman, by the way, on that 7+, putting him up to 7. So, the list starts on 5. So,
it's important to get those CPs, but honestly, the Tallyman's worth 3 CP on his own, pretty much, at least. So yeah, that should not be an easy thing. That should be a very easy thing for them to get. Let's go ahead and turn on the player volume and see what we got. He is very quiet, but that's okay.
That's fine. So I won't do anything like that. I'll just do warp time start.
Okay, so we got the 7. Warp time is free. The Fetid Blow Drone, free to move forward. It's full 10 inches.
That's fine.
Yep.
Correct.
Why you telling this list?
I got you. Stop me from raising a banner. Sure.
Yep, so there will be no banner raised on that objective this turn. Rough. CP to reroll. The Prescience on the Plague Burst Crawler, I assume.
Yeah.
That's what I just heard.
Okay. Morty is going to miasma test.
Okay.
Yeah, they are very quiet. I'm struggling to hear.
Miasma on the drone. I will attempt to deny the witch.
Lockjaw's okay. He's gonna try to deny it. Successful deny.
I will attempt to deny.
Sure.
Not quite.
Worth a shot.
Yep, so he's just 12-inch bubble, no rerolls now. And,
Groovy. Alright, Mercurian now.
All of his contagion abilities or just one?
Yes, Gift of Plagues went off, so that's the extending of the contagion range, which obviously they don't get contagions, but they still get the Warlord trait contagions. He's extended that out to 12 inch.
Okay.
It's so confusing. Like,
It's kind of dumb. Agreed.
so they don't get the -1 toughness, but he still gets the Warlord trait for the turn off rerolls, which was the play company option to go for this game. Because Mochari can pick his like Warlord trait like at the start of the first battle round, which is insanely powerful because he's like one of like the few like exceptions to the game that can do that right now. I think the Silent King's similar, right, Stowolf? He can
No, he is not. He's got one Warlord trait that he can use, and it must be the one.
Okay.
Right,
one
go,
goes
yeah.
through,
So it's something that's
the
very
damage-
unique
no, the damage
to
matters.
Death Guard.
Yeah, the Necrod Codex
Okay,
is honestly
so
their
I'm
Psychic
taking
Awakening.
damage.
It does not feel
I am
as
an
powerful
upgrade
as some of the new
character.
stuff in other codexes, though it still can play.
Okay, that will destroy this bike on the left.
So the bike is toasted.
Shots. Oh, they're one.
One shot from the Plague Burst Crawler, and it misses.
Those Plague Burst Crawlers.
So one attack by going down is not a big deal.
And this is the Slugger.
Correct.
Yeah, hit on 2, wound on 4.
Yes.
Is this AP1?
This is AP1.
Slugger takes a
Well, I
wound, it
definitely
always
failed
does.
that save.
Can't count it
Always
out.
does.
Take a damage. I'll attempt to resist.
Now this does mean, however, that the attack bikes will not be visible to this Plague Burst Crawler shooting them anymore. So those attack bikes are going to survive, as is. And they'll be right back up to full health thanks to the
power up the
Apothecary by
mortal.
the end of the next turn.
Yeah, and it's gonna put. Entropy-
Yeah, you know how Dark Angel players complain about the Lion not coming back? I'm just
Sorry, who are you
convinced
shooting
that the
the
Chief
mortar at?
Apothecary is
Sorry,
the
the
Lion.
entropy at?
He might as well be.
Pretty much the only thing I can
Yeah.
see. Oh, the Deathwing character.
You
The
cannot.
Deathwing
shoot that
characters
man.
are within bodyguard range, and so as a result,
I'm sorry, command swap. Command swap. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
okay, he's gonna
yeah,
try to
okay,
shoot the
fine.
command squad.
So,
Get rid of that bodyguard.
Yeah, that's a big deal if you can kill those.
Yeah,
Sure did.
But they still have a 4-up invuln.
One wound.
Okay, this is AP3, right?
AP4.
Let's see, can he save on a
4
4-up?
plus
Yeah, easy.
You got it.
Storm Shield takes the entropy cannon like a boss.
This
4
is
shots
everything
coming
to
from
do
the Plague Burst Mortar.
No,
Probably not going to kill another one, but it
Okay,
might.
sure. Yeah.
I'm just bouncing around a little bit.
Hitting on, wounding on force, only one wound goes through. This cannot kill unless if it's got the CP to spend on the flat 3 damage. Double save, though, means that the Plague Burst Crawler does nothing.
Okay, and then I'll try to
Yeah,
resist with the
EDT was saying to
Apothecary.
me the other day he needs to learn like my level of luck with Plague Burst Mortars.
Okay, and the Plague Burst Crawler, sorry, I actually misread. That went into the attack bike. So now there are 2 attack bikes down. Yeesh, not what you want.
1, 4.
Alright, 1 wound this time.
And the Slugger is AP1, so I save on a 2.
Easy save. Okay, cool. So now with 2 attack bikes down, there is going to be 1 attack bike missing. And that's the end of that. So now it's Lockjaw's turn.
Phase, I got a couple of things to do.
The Fetid Blowdrum not charging probably makes sense.
He had done like
we
before
are
he
gonna
walked
rock
in.
the rest
He's
of this
literally just getting engaged with him. That was the point.
Yeah, so engage on all fronts there definitely helps. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that now the Terminators nor the Servitors can raise the banner on that objective.
I know. I thought
Because that boy is touching.
All right, I see. So it is locked to if anything's on the objective then.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently looking at this for our score, folks. It's going to be 12 points right now, thanks to EDT's engaged on all fronts. Hey, it's a start. It's something. It's certainly better than 0 extra points by the end of turn 1, and that's kind of what you're looking for.
On the hunt onto those orange poxwalkers there in the command phase.
Now, what does that do?
+1 to hit, I believe.
Interesting. Why might Lockjaw be trying to do that?
Just to remove them. Like, you know, he's got very little obsec in the list. So if he can just get rid of these, like, poxwalkers that are running up, like, considering every Terminator in his army is object secured, that gives him, like, a massive advantage. It's kind of like the game against Curie I played, where, like, I couldn't, like, do much because all his Terminators were obsec as opposed to mine weren't. You know?
Yeah.
There's a massive issue.
Yeah, that would make a massive issue. That said, the Poxwalkers. I mean, I suppose that you're not getting rerolls against Mortarion anyway, and you might as well wipe out something. And if anything can go ahead and get those shots off, it looks like these Tactical Marines might be able to do it. So the Tactical Marines are going out and shooting what they can kill. They're not just being bumps on a
The
log.
thing is, he has to wipe the squad because he will just bring poxwalkers back with their walk again. So it might be a bit sort of fruitful. And I think it does have like I think on the, correct me if I'm wrong, I think on the hunt you have to be able to see the target as well.
Maybe. I actually do have the book around here someplace, but I'll have to try to find it. It's difficult for me to find.
I think it's on the hunt he's done anyway. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
something you do in your command phase.
Probably. Regardless, getting rid of those guys means that the flank is significantly weakened in terms of OBSEC, and you could literally just toss a tactical marine onto the objective and take it away from a demon prince, a foul blight spawn, and 6 Death Shroud Terminators, so long as your tactical marines don't die. Which might start to cause some issues and some reprioritization. There we go. Out of EDT and what he's doing here.
Going down over here makes perfect sense. Like,
It's away from Mortarion. That's the main reason why.
Yeah.
It'll be difficult to remove
He
that.
could have been really nice and put it on the objective which has all the Death Shroud on it. And like I'm gonna actually play the game. I'm not just gonna sit here. Like basically the Terminators sit down and have a picnic and.
He actually can't. Stubborn Defiance has to go on an objective that's in your deployment zone, which means you literally cannot
really
Stubborn
lame.
Defiance in the Scouring.
That's really
Because
lame.
you have 0 objectives in your deployment zone in that mission. Oh, jeez. Anyhow, yeah, so the attack bikes are looking for an opportunity to potentially get what seems to be a couple of attacks on somebody. The Death Guard Demon Prince is under the effects of the Bodyguard rule, thanks to the Death Shroud Terminators being within 3 inches, so that guy cannot get shot. I suppose the question is, what is he trying to find here? And I think the idea is that he's trying to poke out here enough that he can try to find Morty's wing, which I found an angle just briefly for a second there. Yeah, there it is. That if he manages to get some bikes out to there, yeah, it seems like they're measuring for that right now, he'll be able to see Morty's scythe and start taking some pot shots with the attack bikes from across the way. Cheeky, but it absolutely works.
Yeah, so like I say, any damage on Mortarion is worth. So putting the attack bikes into Mortarion, getting like 1 or 2 shots through with them, definitely worth it right now. Because Mortarion's hitting you like next turn. I think the blow drone just dies. That's over there. There's Terminators like around the corner.
Terminators have chain fists. The chain fists do, I think, flat 3 damage, AP -4.
Yeah, but that's a piece he's willing to throw away because it's like it's got me the secondary. That's it. It's done. It's done its job. You know, it's fine. If it lives at this stage, it's just a bonus. You know, if it lives on like 1 wound or whatever and hits back and just be like really annoying, and he's got the second one waiting in the wings to come in and hurt whatever was there previously. Plus Mortarion will probably see him get into combat. I don't think Mortarion dies this turn. I think he could potentially deal like about 6 to 8 wounds to him on a good day.
Maybe, at best. It is worth mentioning, however, that chat is with you. In fact, when I asked earlier, do you think Morty's going to die in the game at all? Creeper ended up contributing 550 channel points to help make sure that the vote ended up being a no. Overall, it's 72% of votes going towards a no. 28%, so the other quarter, roughly, of the people viewing this match right now think that Morty might actually die this time.
Ooh. So I thought Creeper would be wanting Mortarion to die, considering he just ruined his army, like in 2 turns.
Yeah. Again, it's hard for Craft Worlds to do much, but they do have the firepower for it, so long as you roll well enough. And
just wait for 9th Ed Craft Worlds Codex. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. You know.
I mean, if it's anything like the Dark Eldar one,
Drukhari is so good.
Drukhari has won like so many tournaments the first couple of days it's been out in the tournament world. It's incredible. Colin Sherman of Biff Pod has kind of been like, yep, they're too good.
Drukhari's one of those armies where I'm just like constantly like scratching my head, like, how do I fight this as Death Guard? Like right now, like how do I win against it?
Yeah.
You know?
Now we have an
I'm sure the answer's there. Death Guard book is really good. You know, I'm sure that the answer is in there somewhere. It's just I haven't found it yet.
Creeper says in the chat, to be frank, I don't see how this list kills Morty without not having a null zone here. And like, yeah, fair enough. The Chaplain does have the ability to reduce that invuln save to a 5+, but it's still not removing it entirely.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. You know, it's going from a 4 up to a 5 up is huge, as any Eldar player will contest to. You know, Jinx is like one of the best spells in the game.
Yeah, Jinx is one of the strongest powers in the game for sure. And effectively having that on a Primaris Chappie who can move 20 inches if need be on a turn without any real issue is pretty sweet. Now,
yeah, we just have to see what he does. I think his movement phase is going to be super long. Like he really needs to sort of like think, like, what do I prioritize down? I know you've got a lot of threats coming in. and how do I sort of deal with Mortarion when he gets there into my backlines? Am I going to have enough resources left to just go for the kill on him? But I think what he's doing is fine. You know, get some wounds off on Mortarion this turn. It's totally doable, for sure. And maybe just like walling out with the Terminators, you know, like around the center, and just being like, yeah, come fight us, you know, because we did actually see like Demon Forged, even though Mortarion was like in with the Terminators, he only killed like 1 or 2 a turn, right? Like
he killed about 3 a turn, but then the Apothecary would bring one back, and it still took all game, but he eventually did wipe them out. And the Emperor's Children Terminators came in and really did a lot of work in that particular list. Yeah. But Morty survived, to be fair. 10 Terminators with Apothecary support the entire game. And won that fight eventually.
Jeez, yeah.
So it's worth remembering that existed. There was also Big Bird in that list. With the crazy cloak of 6-up heal no pain.
That was insane. Yeah, well, what even was that? Like, the double 6 on the roll.
Well, it was like the triple 6 on the Meltas meant that the Meltas did 0 damage. Like, that hurt. Yeah. That hurt. Anyway, that's a different game. You can go ahead and watch that on our YouTube channel. TTSWH40K on YouTube. We'll have access to those VODs if you want to go ahead and check them out. We have the Deathwing Command squad running up over here to protect the Space Marines. And to present a potential countercharge to, or potential charge target, even to the Death Guard Demon Prince. The Captain and Terminator armor also moving out that way. Interesting. As far as canticles going off, the Primaris Chaplain did end up canticling his hate to everybody within range, so +2 to charge rolls, +6 inch, +3 inches to pylon and consolidations. It's a very powerful canticle. And then the recitation of focus has gone on to the attack by squad that got wounded last turn. We can expect to see the Apothecary move out to heal it up and get 4 multi-shots hitting on 2s, since the -1 to hit did not go off and was denied last turn.
Yeah.
Ezekiel doing his, like, already earning his points.
Yeah, Ezekiel's so good. Like, I should, like, love that guy. Like,
he's so good.
You know, if you're not running even Dark Angels, then why not? Like,
yeah, like they already have excellent psychic powers. It's worth mentioning that Ezekiel this time is kitted out with the remove an aura, the fight last, and then the rerolls. I think. No, he has remove an aura. He has which one? So he has mind wipe, mind worm, and repugnance, and it's the rerolls in melee, which aren't going to be useful this game. Mind worm is fight last. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I was correct.
And a mortal wound, randomly. Like, you fight last and you randomly take a mortal wound as well. Like, okay.
Why not? Why not? Here's a mental stick to lodge into your front wheel of your bike. Those powers are very powerful against Morty. In particular, the ability to turn off an aura means that you can remove, you cannot be affected by auras.
Yeah,
thing that he's got.
You can turn off the non-rerolls because it's not an aura.
Yeah. But you can turn off the you can't be affected by auras rule, which means that, suddenly your chaplain's ability to get people to, pile around and all that stuff is particularly helpful. And most importantly, the Apothecary is effective at that point as well. So, yeah, there's options. Mind you, a lot of those powers require line of sight. So Ezekiel's going to have to make himself visible, which is an issue.
Yeah, a lot of thinking on the movement. I kind of expected this.
You need to. Yeah, you absolutely need to. Because of the threat that that EDT's list has. If you don't think about your movement, you're going to present a charge target where you don't want to, and suddenly it's a big problem. Creeper says, I want to see Maggie's shoving rad cleansers into Morty. You know what? I could see that being a thing. If there's one thing that Morty dislikes, it's a bunch of... Ideally, it'd be strength 8 or 9. But at least strength 5, AP -1 or 2, 1 damage shots massed at him is probably like the worst thing he could possibly go up against. Just because of the fact that...
I agree, but if like Mortarion gets into combat with like a Magra Knight or whatever, and if the sorcerer turns off like invuls on it, it just dies. Like,
yeah, the Megara does have a 4-up invuln save, unless Death Hex comes out. Yeah,
and then that's just not happening. And with D3 +3 damage, rerolling 1s to hit, and
strength 16, so it's winning on 2s, rerolling 1s.
Yeah.
The Apothecary is now currently moving into range of the Knights, the Terminators, the attack bikes. Bringing back an attack bike. Big surprise there. Yes, there's the Narcissium.
I love the fact that he's got a Norse and cross symbol for the bring back.
Yeah, these are great tokens. These are super, super helpful. And they're great for communicating things very quickly to your opponent. For instance, the intent off terrain token here, very helpful for making sure that it's like, this is obviously what I was aiming for. Considering that the first match that we had streamed here with Lockjaw was against Creeper, and there was an issue with intent being declared and everything. You know, I think that Lockjaw's got all these tokens specifically so that way he can communicate to his opponent very clearly what the shit he wants. Yeah.
Right. I might not communicate it well, but my token just says it. Like.
Exactly. Yeah. So the chaplain's moving around to potentially. Now these Terminators did advance, so they're not going to be getting off a charge this turn or anything. But you know, that's a thing. The Meltas have now moved into such a place that they can actually shoot Mortarion. We've got the Talon Master, who is now moving into such a place that he can shoot Mortarion with his masked, effectively 1 damage shots. This is exactly what we're asking for. And since he's ignoring the -1 to hit, even if Morty had one, yeah, that could be a lot of decent damage. He's also applying the reroll 1s to wound aura onto the attack bikes. That Lieutenant reroll, very helpful for dealing with somebody like Morty. We'll have to see whether or not he does enough damage, though. We still have the entire left flank as well to attempt to try to like get some flexibility in terms of where they're shooting and what they're doing. The captain moving to the right side here to provide his reroll 1s aura to as many people as possible. He needs to advance. He gets a 2 effectively on it because of the +1 from his decisive tactician. I think that might just be charge rolls, though. I'm not positive. It's one of those books, again, that it's like, with so many things that I'm trying to learn to keep up with the meta, I kind of forget. Yeah, okay, so he's measuring. Yep, we got reroll 1s on the attack bikes as well, which means that they are hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Especially because they have the recitation of focus. That means they have the +1 to hit, so they're actually hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, and then winning on 4s, rerolling 1s against Morty. We're expecting, like, that could do some real damage. Now, this is a setup for EDT's turn 2, though. Like, this is very much a situation where Lockjaw has put himself in a place where he is ready to react to what EDT is trying to do. But EDT still has a lot of answers to this. Morty is still very survivable. He has a very high chance of actually surviving this with a lot of his wounds left over, and then just running into wherever EDT is weakest and removing some key components. There's still another fetid bloat drone that has to be dealt with, and the Deathwing Terminators on the right flank probably would rather wish that they were doing something else. And EDT still has entropy cannons, man. We saw what they did to the attack bikes last turn, and although they have a 5-up invuln save now, you know, those entropy cannons can still do some work against pretty much everything else in the game, too. Okay, now we're trying to see whether or not these attack bikes can fit through this little corridor in the bottom. No, is the answer, it turns out. It's a small problem. It's kind of like trying to fit a couch through a corridor. That's a very thin corridor when you are moving into a new place. So he's looking for a way around. I can't blame
anyone for that because he designed the maps.
Oh... Yeah, Lockjaw is the designer of the maps here. Yeah, well, I would love to have him on the podcast again at some point to talk about how these maps fared and what he would like to change. We know that these maps are heavily modeled on the WTC model, which I have my own opinions about the WTC, but that's maybe a topic for a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we could go into that at some stage for sure. Like,
yeah, because they have some interesting rulings, to say the least.
You actually got into a game, didn't you, where someone thought that we were playing a WC ruling with Necrons, and then I had to come in and inform them we weren't, and then that guy didn't believe me, and we had to get someone else in from like the judge team to explain it to him as well.
And it was like that was an interesting game too. Like, it was a good game, and I really enjoyed my play. But at that point, yeah, there was a WTC ruling that confused my opponent as to whether or not they were able to do a particular action, whether or not I was able to reanimate my characters and my Necron warriors in a particular way, and yeah, that caused confusion, man. It was a thing. And the WTC terrain definitely has its pros and its cons, and in this case, yeah, we could see that It is very tricky to move around some of these places with some of these models. That's fair. That's fine, as it should be. Infantry should have the advantage in terms of being able to move cleanly through things to make up for their slow movement. But, yeah, there's not a lot of dense terrain. There's not a lot of craters. There's not all this other stuff that would make the game a little bit more tactically complex. So, yeah, we're going to have to see how that changes between Seasons 7 and Season 8. As it stands right now, he has found a way to move around the L to get to the other side. That probably took an advance, which means that these attack bikes are going to be hitting at a -1 already. Whoop. And he's trying to find a different way to move around now. At this point, he's trying to avoid getting charged by the Death Guard Demon Prince.
Yeah, so that would be a problem, like, for sure.
Yeah, well, the Demon Prince would literally shred the entire squad, right?
Yeah. No, not really. They're kind of really swingy. They're only like 6 attacks, so, and they don't reroll ones anymore to hit, and they don't get death to for either.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're actually, I mean, -3 for the down 3 is like still super good, but I don't know. I've got to admit, I'm a little disappointed with the Death Guard Demon Prince. You know, maybe there's something I'm missing, but they just seem a bit overpriced for like less efficiency that you got like in the old Death Guard Codex.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at it like a Prince with Wings, I think it's like 185 points at that point.
Yeah. It's a durable Prince, but yeah, I can definitely see it being not as offensively powerful as it used to be with the double claws in the old Codex. So, you know, wait your turn, everybody else. Your Demon Princes will also get their own flavor. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Khorne marked Demon Princes in a new Chaos Codex will be a little bit more useful in that sense. You know, being more combat-centric and everything. And I mean, Slaanesh Demon Princes will probably still be great. But we'll have to see those rules when they get there. For right now, we seem to be trying to maybe screen things out with the Servitors. The attack bikes are moving into a position to shoot Morty. These attack bikes are in a position to shoot Morty. We've got the Arbiter's Gaze, Ravenwing Talonmaster in a position to shoot Morty. Everything that can shoot Morty is going to try to shoot Morty this turn. It's like big surprise. And this is still the bottom of turn 1, folks. Like, this movement phase is super important for Lockjaw. Like, the first 2 turns in general are. Because turns 3, 4, 5 will go extremely quickly. At that point, either Morty's dead, or, you know, and as a result, Lockjaw's going to be able to play the rest of the game, or Morty won't be, at which point Lockjaw will start falling behind on points drastically, as is why we stand. Fights have been picked off, and the Death Guard will have had their chance to just do whatever they want for the first few turns, without being touched at all. Because right now, if Morty wasn't in this list, these attack bikes would be organized to shoot other things. The OBSEC would be trying to get removed. Like, it would just be a fundamentally different game. So we got some potential denies coming out of Mortarion. We have a cast right now. I forget which spell. I'm gonna go ahead and put up the volume on these folks.
You got it. Okay, cool.
We have Mindworm. This is the one that removes. No, that's Fight Last onto Morty. That's a big deal. That means that even if Morty charges, everything else gets to fight first. Huge deal. Huge deal.
Let's start with these Space Marines over here. Let's start with the attack Marines. We're all going to fire their bolt guns at the box.
Attack Marines into the box walkers to start things off.
Hitting on 3s.
Not a lot of hits, sadly. Wounding on 4s. No wounds. Woof. Alright, so attack Marines do nothing against the box walkers.
Next up, we'll have the Talonmaster fire everything.
Talonmaster's firing everything to Morty. Big surprise. We saw that one coming.
With the heavy
Everything that can fire into Morty will this turn.
You can do it all at the same time, but...
Sure. You're right, I could merge the assault cannon. This will wound on 5s. 2 wounds, AP2.
Okay, well, let's see whether or not it matters. It does go through. 1 damage. It does go through. Morty's down to 17 wounds. That's our first scratch.
God can bleed.
A god can bleed. Yep. So now it's the assault cannons. This is the exact same profile as before. Now with 3 wounds. He's got 2 saves, though. And the 5 of Feel No Pain did not go through. So that's going to be 2 damage from the Ravenwing Talonmaster.
Yes.
Down to 16. That's it's a portion.
Have the attack bikes fire at Mortarion. 2 multi-meltas.
All right, 2 multi-meltas. This is the big. These are the big guns.
With recitation of focus.
Oh, they all hit. 4s rerolling 1s. Thank goodness we're rerolling 1s here. Only 1 wound.
AP5
goes through. CP reroll. Yep. That tends to be what happens.
At Mortarion.
Bolt guns into Mortarion. I need to wound on 6s at this point because they're strength 4 into toughness 8. Okay, look, these dice need to go in more than one at a time. Yeah. Okay, so yeah.
Rerolling the ones, it was like, eh. Like,
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
I'll fire
yeah,
one
yeah.
as
So
well.
Mortarion took a grand total of 2 damage so far from the Talon Master. Some bad rolls on the attack bikes mean that Mortarion took
Yeah,
0
that's
extra damage. It hurts.
And wounding on 6s. 2
Oh,
see
okay,
what's
2
there.
more wounds, but these are going to be on 3s here.
0.
1 fails. 5 of feel no pain. No,
More
the
damage,
bolters,
beautiful.
storm bolters doing the
Holy
work.
bolter.
The humble bolter.
Okay, let's do some charges.
We're already into the charge phase. The attack bikes
My
didn't even
Death
shoot
Meter
anything.
Here are gonna charge.
Yeah, I'm a bit
both
confused.
drones.
Surely,
I
wait,
have the
why
marker
are
down here
2
for
Death
raise the
Shroud,
banner.
like,
Didn't say
upside
it out
down?
loud, but I'm raising the banner
Okay,
for
'cause
here.
they're
I don't know.
Cool. Okay, Deathwing Terminators will charge the Bloat Drone.
That's what I thought he was going to try and do. I thought he was going to put these attack bikes into
Okay, the
the
Terminators are charged the bloat drone. The bloat drone's probably toast.
Yeah.
Well, I could put this tune on loop right now. For those of you wondering where we're getting the music from, Argo Fox. This song in particular is called Dr. Vox. Go ahead and check it out. It reminds me of Christopher Root, actually. Anyway, so yeah, we got the Deathwing Terminators going into this fetid bloat drone. These Deathwing Terminators sporting
Okay,
chain
that's fine.
fists.
And we will have this gentleman. He's
gonna
gonna go
hurt.
outside.
Because the flat damage 3 on a chain fist and an AP -4 means that this fetid bloat drone is going to be taking a heap of damage.
And this
Will probably die, but it's not a guarantee. That 5-up invuln save and -1 damage does mean that these are effectively just power fists in terms of damage normally against this guy. So that's going to mean that 5 wounds have to go through after hitting on 3s at best after spending a CP, wounding on 3s at best with no additional rerolls.
Next, we will have the Assault Terminators charge the
Assault Terminators, okay, they need an 8-inch charge. However, thanks to Canticle of Hate, they just need a 6 on the dice, and they got a 9. That means they can move 11 inches to really boost their movement.
Because it means he can back up, like, what's on this objective as well for his turn 1 primary. If he wants to, like, bring them back. So...
Yeah, and there's a potential play you can do with this too, where...
10 right. He could actually put a guy onto this objective. Let's see if he spots this. And stop EDT from getting turn 1. Because I don't think Mortarion's in heroic intervention range.
I mean, maybe. The issue is that Deathwing Knights did advance to get into the position where they are, and they're the only things protecting the characters right now from
I see.
immediately dying. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And we are going to go to the Fight Phase.
Okay, so Fight Phase
let's
happened
start
first.
with activating, I guess, the Chain Fist Terminators.
Chain Fist Terminators going first. No big surprise there. These are the hard-hitting things for
3 attacks
vehicles.
each from each model. 2 base 2, 1 for Shock Assault. Okay. So 12 hits from the Chain Fists. -2 to hit, 1 for Chain Fist, 1 for Miasma. Does he have Miasma?
He does.
-2 to hit doesn't work.
So they hit on force.
Okay.
So they hit it on force.
Okay.
Woof.
And they're 8 strength, so I think they wound on 3s.
Okay, now all these going
85.
through. Yeah, so that still is only 6 damage. The Fetid Blow Drone's alive on 3.
They're flat 3 damage, which you reduce to 2. Yeah, 6 total. Okay, cool. And then I'll swing the Thunder Hammer from the Sergeant.
Okay. This Fetid Blow Drone's probably toast because there's also a bunch of Lightning Claws going into this thing, and those are great for getting rid of these.
2. Flat 2 damage.
So it's down to 1, and it's just a bunch of Lightning Claws at this point. Is there an auto-explode stratagem for Death Guard
it's
Demon?
only one mortal wound, so it's not worth it.
Okay, I see. Because I was going to say that would be really cool if you could auto-explode it, and then it's just like, boom! Goodbye, Terminators, be covered in filth. But nope, it's just a shitty explosion for a shitty 1 mortal wound. Not what you're looking for.
Right on the plate burst, though, like, for D3.
If anything, look,
and kills it in combat, and then you're like, oh,
if Lockjaw gets that close to the Plague Burst crawlers, EDT's in a lot more trouble than we would expect.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I was meaning more like against like armies like Harlequins or Drakari.
Oh, it seems like based off of the CP, there is an interrupt.
Okay, and he has what, 12 swings?
Going into the other Terminators, the Assault Terminator squad.
Yeah.
These are hitting on
The ones who are
3s,
Great.
wounding on 4s, and each one is 2 damage, which is a problem.
4s, reroll 1s. Okay.
Alright, that's not exactly what he was looking for.
AP1, AP2? Definitely the Sergeant with the Thunder Hammer. Okay, so I'll roll 2 at a time. These are 3 ups with AP2.
Okay.
He takes 2 damage.
Storm Shield is still in place. Storm Shield goes down.
CP to reroll that.
He's using the CP to reroll that one. Storm Shield goes down. Okay.
Okay. And then last Lightning Claw Terminator.
And Lightning Claw Terminator manages to stay
I still
standing.
lost my
So
Sergeant.
The Sergeant goes down to the Flesh Mower, but
Okay,
that's
that's
2
pretty
CPU to
cool.
kill 1 Storm Shield. It's actually a big deal.
Okay, my turn to
Yeah.
swing back.
Absolutely.
Because now there isn't a 4-up invuln save to deal with Mortarian's many millions of swings.
Terminators. I'm sorry, Evan. I need just 1 minute. Something's going on at my house. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Sorry.
Okay, quick pause here.
Just take a quick break. Like,
Is his clock still going? No, the clock
basically,
is
the police have
paused.
arrived at Lockjaw's house to ask, "Are you fallen?" At this point, the,
Okay, it's worth mentioning at this point, by the end of turn 1, Lockjaw is going to be keeping all of his while he stands when he fights. He's raised at least 1 banner, and Stubborn Defiance will start ticking at the start of his next turn. So although it's 12 to 10 at the end of turn 1,
So, Assault Terminators next.
it's going to make things a little bit. It's going to be a big swing in terms of points back and forth here, for sure. Okay, Assault Terminators are going in. This is still a lot of Lightning Claws. They have charged. They have 2 Lightning Claws each, which makes this a very offensive Dark Angels list. That means that these boys are going to be attacking with 5 attacks apiece. That's 20 attacks with Lightning Claws here.
So,
This
Lightning
drone
Claws
is
units have
toast.
5 attacks each.
yeah.
So 20 from the squad. They hit on 4s if you have their -1.
Oh, that's a roll.
And I think they wound on 5s.
5's re-rolling,
And
though.
rerolls with rerolls. Lightning Claw reroll all wound rolls.
Oh, the re-rolls didn't quite do what he needed to, but that's more than enough wounds to do what he needs
You're
to
right,
do.
that's right.
He dies.
That should clean him up.
And explode. Come on.
Please don't.
No.
Okay, 1 mortal.
Alright, so it's 1 more.
Yeah,
It does explode. Oh,
Yeah, it
lame.
Sure.
Because Death Guard Demon Engine. Like,
Yeah, good point. Alright, so that's 1 mortal wound onto those 2 squads there.
Yes. I don't think we need to do more. Oh, I get to consolidate, of course.
And he gets to consolidate, not the 6 inches.
Towards the sorcerer. Yeah, I think towards the sorcerer.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. The sorcerer, by the way, did take a
Well, they're
wound
all
to be
going
able to
the same
auto-pass the
direction.
warp time earlier.
Towards the
Yep,
enemy.
sounds good.
Yeah.
And I will attempt to be off the terrain.
Yeah, makes sense.
Alright, so the intent here is to keep these Terminators off the terrain so that way they cannot be shot for free. Mind you, they are still well within range. The Flaper's Crawler just moving in saying, I've got entropy cannons.
Pass it over to me.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so start of this turn, the Death Guard. Chowder is holding 1, is holding 2, and is holding more.
Yeah.
So as it
Okay,
stands,
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
gain
yeah.
15 for the primary.
Cool.
Rough start, but it's roughly what you're expecting for a list like this. Erever, what do you think, and what do you predict is going to start happening here?
Mortarian's gonna go in and he's gonna kill something that's like obvious, you know, like right now. Like he can use this unit of Poxwalkers to go grab that objective. So Mortarian can just go in and get something. Great play with Mortarian, by the way. Not thinking like, oh, I'm gonna run him in like turn 1 and kill something. I'm just going to use him to get hold more because he knows that the Dark Angel is like super slow moving.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't really get on to like that midfield objective on the other side. So Mortarian's definitely going in. He's gonna just try and drop as many Terminators as he can this turn. I think is his game plan. Because once that like Rook sort of falls over of that, then Mortarian can just literally clean up like the rest of the army, right?
Yeah. No, he's effectively Mortarian is. Well, I mean, he's the queen piece of EDT's list, but he acts like a rook. He supports everything around him, and he applies a lot of pressure very, very quickly. If Mortarian goes down, then yeah, that's going to be a huge problem. But for right now, he just needs to apply enough pressure that Lockjaw's list kind of starts to crumble, starts to fall apart. And by the end of turn 2, if Mortarian isn't dead or very nearly so, then EDT is in a very good position to win this. As it stands right now, he's in a position to go ahead and shoot the Lantern. The Plagueburst Crawler is going to potentially do some shooting as well. We're losing an attack by squad, is my point here. At least one squad of Terminators is going to be probably dead and buried. And there's still the other flank to worry about. 2 squads of Deathshroud Terminators, the Death Guard Demon Prince. We still have the Foul Blight spawn there to make it very difficult for those Terminators to do anything. Like, this is gonna be rough.
By the way, these 2 Death Shroud that have their bases flipped right now aren't actually dead. They are alive. We've got no idea why they're flipped.
I believe
right
it's
now.
hitboxes to make sure that they can actually like stand where they're supposed to. That'd be my guess.
It's just a bit weird because like Lockjaw could have obviously fired into those with like a multi-metal bike, and then maybe you missed it because they were flipped or something.
Who knows? But we'll have to write that down in our notebooks. Write that down as a potentially question mark, exclamation mark, inaccuracy blunder.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
but we'll have to see. At least it's not a double question marks. That would be a straight up blunder. Right now, I don't see any. Actually, one thing that Lockjaw's done very well is spread apart his castle enough that Mortarion can't chew up and tag the entire dang thing. One of the things that we wished we had seen in the game with Creeper is moving into a different corner and everything, but Creeper explained why he couldn't do that, and it made sense.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like, sure.
In this case, this is good, though. Mortarion's not going to be able to take everything off. He's not going to be able to kill absolutely everything. Yeah, this should be okay. This should be okay. I expect Mortarion to charge the unit that's on the objective right now in an effort to try to remove the Deathwing Terminators. They will have a chance to try to punch Mortarion back first, and with D3 damage weapons, it's actually better than Power Fists. Because they could potentially roll that 3. It gives a place for D3 damage weaponry to exist.
I don't think they kill him, but the more hurt you put on Mortarion for sure is better. I love his screening of the servitors as well. Like, he's got this guy at the back here, so that Mortarion's base can't fit through the attack bike as well. So no charge onto the attack bikes. They're safe and sound. We still got the Talonmaster is going to be fine as well. And he's got the Chaplain is no slouch in combat either. He hits pretty hard, as does the Talonmaster, So definitely good play there. But if Mortarion does kill this Terminator unit, it does mean a 5-point primary for Dark Angels. So I'm not a bit confused as to the consolidation with the Terminators behind the ring, because could have just left one on the objective and then he'd have had like both units and had one unit like screening out the other unit potentially as well from Morty.
Yeah, my thinking there is that they are spreading apart from the other Terminators, so that way Morty can't
I see. Yeah, that makes
easily
sense,
deal with both at the same time.
Yeah.
And they are presenting a threat to the Sorcerer in the back. Since if they're not dealt with this turn by being shot, by being charged by the Fetid Bloat Drone, that kind of stuff, then they will be able to move forward, charge the Sorcerer, and absolutely murder him, tag the Plagueburst Crawler, and then potentially present a very real issue to these Chaos Cultists. By piling in, consolidating, and then starting to touch them. And as soon as you got Lightning Claws touching cultists, the cultists literally evaporate in puffs of gore and blood.
Yeah, they do. There's a reason why they're 60 points, like...
Well, you wish that they were even less, honestly, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. They should, considering Poxwalkers are like 50 for 10, it doesn't make any sense at all. Cultists are like 60 points for 10.
Deathguard Demon Prince moving forward here. Seems like he wants to move forward in an attempt to potentially charge some attack bikes.
Yeah, it's looking at an 8-inch charge there from the Demon Prince instead.
Yeah. It's not short, but it is certainly not as short as you'd like it to be. We got a potential charge target from the Death Shrouds into the Terminators on the Stubborn Defiance objective here. That might not work out, but it's not like the Terminators can stop the Death Shroud Terminators from advancing. No. They're pinned there.
Yeah, so if he hits that 11, that's a big deal. Like, because the Death Shroud will eventually pick them up, So if he does hit the 11, that's great. If he hits the 8, that's also like a huge deal as well into the attack bikes. Now the attack bikes can obviously like fall back and shoot. That's something they can do.
Yeah, but a flat 3 damage sword will probably kill one, maybe if he's lucky 2 of them, which would be a big deal.
TP again as well, so this is like a really good Tallyman so far. He's counting to 7 like multiple times, and he's doing his mathematics. So working out for Lockjaw. Up to 4 CP. You got 1 for turn and then 1 for Tallyman.
He's like a year 3 student. I can count to 3. I can count to 7. I'm really good. Can I have a sticker now? I used to teach. But yeah, no, the Tallyman's doing a great job getting that CP, which the list doesn't need, but definitely wants.
Oh, it does need it. Like you need CP as chaos. Like this is why you're seeing Tallyman like appear in every like chaos suit list right now, because you spend a lot of CP like pre-game as chaos, for all your like relics and wallet trades, because they're super good and synergize into the army so well. So you need this like Tallyman to bring that CP back up. People will say it's like the Tallyman's really unbalanced. I don't think it is, like, because you do spend like so much pre-game to actually like play the game competitively. So I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and I can agree. Honestly, having the Tallyman help out is extremely helpful. But it really does just smooth things out. A lot of Chaos players are capable of relying on a very small number of CP to make it work for some lists. This list, I don't think really relies on a whole ton, just enough to potentially swing a Chaos Familiar here and there, reroll a charge where need be, or a Psychic Test if they absolutely have to. Now, as far as the guys in the upper left corner, Maki Makire, first off, sick name. Second, the units that were up there were this squad of 3 Death Shroud Terminators and the Tallyman. The Tallyman is now the only thing holding this objective in the top left, which has a banner on it. So it is worth mentioning that this is potentially vulnerable, but it does rely on the Dark Angels actually getting there.
Yeah. I mean, they can... Yeah, so his entire game plan is hinging on, like, wiping out the attack bikes. Otherwise, the attack bikes just go, I am so taking that Tallyman off that objective, like, next turn.
Yeah, but they do need to also fly over to the other side of the map to deal with Mortarion, because if Mortarion lives, that's a problem.
That's true. Yeah. I mean,
guys...
I mean, sure, but I put a couple of cheeky multi-meter shots in, you know, points matter so much in ninth that I'd be like, unless he's going to move the Tallyman, like, into, like, the ruin, which Tallyman's not moved yet, so yeah, there we go.
Yeah. It's also worth mentioning that right now, this is actually very equal to flank attack. Mortarion on his own with a Fed Blow Drone or 2 to help is like an army, like half an army by himself, just because of how durable and how painful he is. And then we have this left flank where it is also just doing a lot of work. It seems that based off the CP and everything, there was a Chaos Familiar followed by a Warp Time over on the Death Guard Demon Prince to guarantee a charge off on these attack bikes.
Oh, I see. So he gave the Demon Prince Warp Time himself. So.
Yep, it's not like he needs it over on the other side anymore.
Yeah.
So the Death Guard Demon Prince is...
guys, there's like a little like jank with wording right now. So with Chaos Familiar, the general CSM strat, says that it applies to any like Heretic Astartes unit, and it doesn't specify like what discipline it has to go for. So if you're running, say, like a Death Guard Demon Prince with the Death Guard discipline, you can happily, weirdly swap out the power for Warp Time, which is like a really strange like way of doing it. I believe the pants like explained like fully like when Demon Forge did that, like just how that one works, and I won't go into like the 3 paragraphs of text he used to explain it, but
it works.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah, it makes it very powerful, and that's like one of those CP usages that you expect over the course of a turn. There seems to have been a reroll here to cast the power. We're going to get an attempted deny out of Ezekiel to see whether or not he can stop the powers of the of Chaos from going off.
I think I get +1 with the Psychic Hood.
And he is well within 12 inches to deny Mortarion. That's a deny.
Okay,
Psychic Hood, first time ever in 9th edition, we're seeing Psychic Hood being used.
Oh, and you know what? We might not have to update our Ezekiel's dead counter over the course of all this.
Right, yeah. So he's died twice. And...
Yeah, he's died twice. Here, let me show you guys what that looks like. But we'll have to see whether or not we have to update that with a ding.
Everything into the attack spikes. Okay, sure.
Alright, so everything's going to the attack bikes for these shots here. Entropy cannons, that'll be 1 hit, no wound yet, but rerolls because it's a plague weapon, it wounds. 5 up invuln save says no. It's enough to easily kill him.
I will attempt to resist that with the Apothecary.
Apothecary says, I still have my 6 and feel no pains. Sure. He needs to 2 at least. No 6s. That is 1 attack bike down.
Yep.
Wham.
6 shots. 3.
Plague Burst Crawler mortar going into them now.
3s and then 3s.
Oh no, that's not what you're looking for, EBT. Now for the Slugger.
Slugger. Come on, dice. 2 save. -1, please.
1 damage.
Alright, 1 damage.
Which I'll attempt to resist.
It's a resist. Yeah, okay, so the attack bikes are still around, and there's only a Plague Burst mortar that can really see them left.
Yeah.
The Lantern is now officially out of range, I think. Chat's going in with the chaos jokes here. Congratulations, well done. You are a credit to your team, everyone. All right, we got some shots from the. Oh man, okay, re-rolling. So the 2 entropy cannons do manage to hit something.
Okay, sure. We're good.
Both pass. Wow, entropy cannons do nothing. Weird time. These are hitting on 2s because of prescience. Somehow still works cross faction.
AP2 on the mortar. Okay, sure.
Lockjaw rolls. He rolls not as well as you'd like him to.
Yeah, that is 6 damage. Unfortunate. Okay, cool. Let's see how much I can resist.
And that's the end of the bites.
Attack bike is gone.
Yep, that's a pretty big blow. Like for shooting Mortarion, like losing the full attack bike squad.
Yeah, and they sadly didn't do nearly enough damage. The other attack bike squad is either going to be murdered or, well, they're definitely not going to be shooting next turn either. So Mortarion's sitting at 15 wounds.
To be fair, he's got the strats to fall back. So
yeah, but at least one of those bikes is dead. The apothecary might be able to bring one back,
well,
but
I don't know. It's going to be
We'll
hard
have
to
to see.
see him behind the obscuring terrain.
honestly, I think he deals one more turn in combat.
And the Talon Master is character protect.
So I'll shoot this Deathwing squad.
Mortarion's going to try to shoot a lantern shot now.
Yep.
It's going to hit both Terminator squads, I think,
This is a part, so I don't get more than one.
depending on how he lines up the line.
I mean-
How do you determine where lantern shoots from? Can you choose any part of your base?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so you should be able to shoot
What,
both.
AP 3 on the lantern or something?
Yeah, -3 damage.
it's the weirdest weapon,
Storm Shield.
like in 40k.
Storm Shield fails.
Uh,
see a CP reroll here?
Do I want to pay a CP to keep this guy alive?
It's 2 to 7 CP right now, by the way. Those 2 CP, by the way, Tallymans. Tallyman's right there. Right now, EDT would be at 0 CP without that boy.
Oh, never mind. It's not on the Storm Shield. Then he's dead.
Yeah.
I must have put a mortal wound there from the explosion. I can't put on the Storm Shield.
Alright, so that's one Deathwing Terminator gone.
Shield and then CP that if you want.
That is what I wanted to do. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah,
Sure. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to pay a CP. And
Rerolling,
see if I can
actually,
make
so
it on
never
my
mind.
Storm Shield 3.
He intended to put it on a Storm Shield. The Storm Shield
And he
still
does.
fails.
He's good.
That's a
Yeah,
dead
turns
Storm
out
Shield
that-
Sergeant.
He is touching cover, so and his Storm Shield, so he has a 0 up save, and you have AP 3.
That actually would pass, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Good grief.
So that is everything over there.
Okay, never mind. He saves against the Lantern. He was ducking behind cover with a Storm Shield. Just enough to give him the pluses necessary to ignore the Lantern. Yeesh.
5. 3.
Wait, I don't actually see it on his tooltip. Yeah, okay, he's got it.
It's not modeled properly.
That's fine.
Hold on. And the
So
Death
is
Guard
that
Demon
3
Prince
wounds
does have a Flamer on him. Apparently.
Yeah, he does. He's got the spear. Like it's a 5-point
Yeah.
upgrade. You know, if you got 5 points for in the list,
It's not on his sheet at all. But hey, it's on. If it's there, it's there. Let me actually just double check. What does that thing do? I'm very curious.
It's just a
Uh,
D6 like strength 5
I do.
plague flamer. So
Yeah, he does have a Plague Spear. Yep. That's fair. Also, that Demon Prince does have the droning. So anybody near him is at half movement. That's pretty brutal for these Deathwing Terminators.
Yeah.
I guess this dude looks like
Creeper pipes up in chat. That's why you get the ignoring covercraft world. Can't blame you.
yeah,
is the assault
it's still
terminator.
decent. Like if like Night Spinners were a bit cheaper, they'd be like super good.
Yeah, Knights. I still like Night Spinners for what they can do, but they are a bit expensive for sure. It's by no means Manticore. So right now, Morty's actually got a tough decision to make. He's fighting last. So even if he charges, there are a bunch of Terminators that will have a chance to try to punch him first. And even without rerolls, that's a lot of Strength 8. Or, Strength 4 with Lightning Claws kind of going back into him. Lightning Claws don't get to reroll or anything, though, sadly, so...
Yeah, so they're just like winning on 6s, right? Like,
Yeah, this might be an interesting situation for Morty to just go into, wipe out one of the squads, and then get close but
Yeah,
not
I
tag
disabled
the other
scripts
squad,
for
just
them.
to keep him as durable as possible. I'm not sure what I'd do here.
Alright, so we're just gonna both go into this squad here.
Like, I'd want to
Assault
keep
Terminator.
Mortarion alive longer, but
I'm not even gonna lie.
it's tough. Okay, so the Fetid Blowdrone has charged the Lightning Claw Terminators. That Blowdrone might actually do some real work.
I guess I'll roll the drone in case I really like
yeah, he's got CP for interrupts as well, which is kind of gonna be kind of key here.
that's gonna be
And what he's fighting last anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So right now the Fetid Blowdrone's going to try to see if he can't charge in any place else, but nope, the Assault Terminators are going to stop him from doing that. So the Fetid Blowdrone is just going into the Assault Terminators. We'll have to see what happens. And then Morty's going in on the Assault Terminators as well. Is he going in on both? EDT
No.
says yes, because he is within an inch.
on the other side of the battlefield.
No, he's not. Never mind.
Demon Prince.
All right, now for the Demon Prince going into the attack bikes.
Okay, go for it.
Overwatch. get like 2 mounts.
Doesn't seem like it, but that's gonna be an easy charge. Demon Prince is in.
Oh, I'd overwatch that just on the off chance.
Oh, I mean, that's one of those moments where it's like, hey, I've got 7 CP.
Yeah,
Maybe,
why not? I'll
maybe.
chance it.
Like, you need to spend, against the Morty list like this is where you spend your CP. The first 2, maybe 3 turns, is where you blow everything to get the advantage you need to really crawl back in the late game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we're gonna do the claw first because there's a guy on one knee.
Alright, so he's doing the claw first, and then the
Oh,
sword.
right. So here's where like Lockjaw can do a trick. He can interrupt with the attack bikes, swing, and then spend 2 CP to fall back with them, and then the Demon Prince doesn't get to fight.
No, he's starting with the Demon Prince, it seems.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because you said you're tagging with the claw first. Okay,
So
that's
he's tagging
fine.
with the
And
claw first
is
here.
AP1.
Because he wants to make sure he kills off that 1 HP attack bike
Yes,
first with
it's
this.
He's fine.
And he does not.
Alright,
And
and
health
now for the
force is
flat
AP
3 damage
3.
sword.
Yep.
Okay, that still does
9
1
damage.
and kills another. So that's gonna be
Kill
2
here,
bikes dead
kill
there.
there.
And then the Death Guard Demon Prince will pile back in 3 inches, tagging the last attack bike, making sure that that attack bike squad is now near useless. This is where having access to the Chaos Space Marine stratagems, and specifically Chaos Familiar, makes a big difference. Like, you don't have to use it on Morty, you can use it on your own Demon Prince and potentially get warp time off across the other side of the battlefield without needing a sorcerer. That alone might crumple the entire flank here for Lockjaw.
So I do have to use the blowgun first.
Yeah.
So he has to use the Fetid Blow Drone first. And these are wounding on 4s. Rerolling 1s because of the plague, but now it's just a bunch of...
For AP2.
So 4 up saves here. Ooh, okay, it's going to kill 1 in a bit.
Okay, so that's 2 damage each.
Oh no, and because 1 was mortal wounded, that's actually going to kill 2.
Oh, there's one.
Now that's what we call efficiency here in the business.
That's fine.
And he's going to go ahead and keep Morty tagged here. The Fetid Blow Drone has to kind of pile in towards the Deathwing Terminator with the Chain Fist if he's going to go ever anywhere. Now hold on, if
No,
Morty's
Morty
fighting
can't
left...
activate yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay. So then,
Yeah, Morty can't activate yet. Because of because of the Mind Worm.
Yep.
Which dealt 1 wound, you know. It's something. It means he's at 15, not 16. Every inch counts against
So
this
he's not gonna
gigantic thing.
consolidate.
So the real question is, can a squad of Deathwing Knights, and a Talon Master, a Chaplain, an Apothecary, Ezekiel, and a Captain, wherever he is, take on Morty and win? Because if they can crawl back on this flank over here, then there's a chance.
There we go. Yeah, for sure.
let's,
Like
pilot.
they can like start to like split the map like at that point.
Face-to-face contact with Mortarion.
Mind you, it's not the split that he would let Lockjaw wants. He wants to protect this left flank as much as possible because that's the Stubborn Defiance objective.
Like so, you know, it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah,
There's like
exactly.
5 Terminators sat
it's
on this Stubborn Defiance
so
objective,
3,
and even though they had to hold the
5 attacks
objective,
each.
that Demon Prince can still, you know, they can still fight the Demon Prince and hold that objective quite happily. You know, I think it's fine, honestly.
I get +1 for Shock Assault and then +2 for the Pair of Lightning Claws.
Yeah, so this will be
Yeah.
10 attacks from the
So
Lightning
10
Claws.
Hitting on 2s, we get +1 to hit because we didn't move.
Now these are wounding on 6s.
Why is my -1? I did.
Yeah.
No miasma this
needing
turn.
6s to wound.
6 to
Oh,
wound with no rerolls means no
let's
wounds.
reroll all those.
Yeah, this is where turning off rerolls makes Morty way too tanky.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. 8 attacks.
8 attacks going into them.
Oh no.
They all hit because he can Chapter Master reroll himself for reasons. So,
Just AP2?
so these are the sweep attacks he's got going on here. The Reaping Scythe is only damage 1. So
Oh,
these
I see.
Terminators
Okay.
might actually live.
Sure. Fire up and roll.
Takes 2. One of the Terminators live on this one then.
They both die.
Yeah, well, I might CP.
Unless wait, hold on. Does Mortarion have 8 attacks base?
Low value flat. I probably don't need to.
No, he's got 7.
And
So
if
why do you
I
roll
don't,
8
you can
dice?
pile in into
I have
these other
no
ones.
idea.
That's okay.
Where do you get +1 attack from?
There, you can wipe the spot.
Anyway, it doesn't seem to matter. That was the eviscerating blow. I thought that was a sweep for a second there. In he goes. He tags the Chain Fists. Now, that might be a mistake.
Yeah, these Chain Fists got to swing now. So
Yep.
Base which of them, though?
At least these two.
Alright, so at this point now, the guys with the Chain Fists have a +1 to hit. So they're going to be hitting on 3s. He can spend the 1 CP to get
Okay,
Fury of
cool.
the First.
So I will
So he-
activate the death.
Not that it's going to help to offset that and actually be hitting on 2s again.
You did face these two
with these chain fists. That actually might be a big enough difference to help. Mind you, the Deathwing have a hard time falling back, so it does mean that whatever little shooting there is, the Dark Angels won't be able to really use it here.
Okay, that's fine. They'll swing away at Mortarion.
All right, let's see what these chain fists can do.
The 4 chain fists are 3 attacks each, 12 total. They are hitting on 3s, +1 for Grim Resolve, -1 for chain fist.
He's not using the 1 CP to have them hit on 2s here. That's fine.
And wounding on 4s, 8 strength.
Every single one of those passed.
Okay,
Yeah.
This is how Morty does, and it's the single most frustrating thing on the
That'll
planet.
hit on 3s, +1, -1. And wound on 4s.
1 wound, Thunderhammer. Thunderhammer goes through for 2 damage.
From a Thunderhammer. 2 damage. Oh yeah, you got it. You're right. Okay.
Alright, so that'll go through, actually. Morty's down to 13. The Thunderhammer does something.
Attack bike.
And now the attack bike gets the fight.
Attacks.
Yep.
Hitting on 2s for Grim, +1 for Grim Resolve.
Now, attack bikes have 2 attacks baseline, yeah.
I don't know what your strength.
I learned in my game that normal bike squads only have 1 attack.
Okay.
Which is a bit of a surprise to me, so...
Validate.
Yeah, attack bikes have 2 because there's 2 people. There's like a straight up like buggy car situation
guess I
going on
will
here to get that extra attack.
That's fine.
Oh, good. If I get 3 unengaged,
Alright, so that's going to be an easy 3 on engage
So
there
I
as
will
well.
be,
We're now in the bottom of
around.
turn 2.
Yeah, this attack bike could run. I don't have the chaplain or anything. Okay.
And that 3 points is going to put EDT up to a happy 32 points. A really good place to be right now. And is still sitting on the full points for while we stand and fight as well.
Sure. And what's the range on the droning right now? Is it 4 inches?
Okay. We're currently looking at a pretty strong showing right now out of EDT. But Lockjaw does end up getting a couple of points here. 1 point for Raise the Banners. He gets 2 points for Stubborn Defiance. And, you know, his primary, he still gets his 5? No, he still gets his full 10 points that he needs for that one for sure as well. For a total of 1, 2, 3 plus 10, 13 extra points. Not a bad place to be. Could be worse.
Mm-hmm. I think it's okay. Like, you know, the attack bites again, like, they've done nothing, and we've seen that every game. To be honest, like, you know, I think it's very like matchup, like, and I can see like against like full payload like Manticores, maybe tank commanders, you know, they can definitely like cut through them. Maybe not Manticores because they're out of line of sight, but like tank commanders for sure. But with the meta, like, you know, being like these Death Guard units, like Playburst crawlers, you know, the drones, etc., and Mortarion, they just don't seem. I've never seen them like perform, you know. So I don't know. Death Guard players maybe kind of rethink that choice a little bit if you're listening. You know?
Hold on a second. Was that one of the While We Stand We Fights though?
What the?
Yeah, the Terminator Assault Squad. So that Terminator Assault Squad going down was one of the While We Stand We Fight targets.
Ooh, okay.
That's a big deal. At least as far as I
Wait,
can tell.
Isn't that the squad that's split though? Like 5 on 5,
No,
right?
not the Assault Squad. The Split Squad is the one with the chain fists.
Okay. Yeah, that's a problem.
Let me just check. No, it's still more points than the Talon Master. And it's still more points than the attack squads. Yeah, that's one of those squad. That's 5 points just gone. Yeah. So here's the main issue. Right now, there's still Mortarion who's still relatively healthy. It is unlikely that Mortarion dies this turn. And the left flank still has to deal with 2 squads of Death Shroud Terminators, a Foul Blight Spawn, and a Death Guard Demon Prince that are doing everything they can to overwhelm 5 Terminators and 1 attack bite that's been left alive. There is a Deathwing Command Squad and 5 Space Marines on that flank. The Ravenwing Talon Master can easily redirect, so can the Chaplain, but there's still Morty over here. Like,
Morty has to die this turn. Like, that is Lockjaw's plan if I was playing the Dark Angels right now.
Yeah, and like it has to happen because otherwise, you know, the right flank also collapses. And a lot of the models on this right flank can't redirect fast enough. Like the Deathwing Knights can't redirect fast enough. The Chain Fist Terminators kind of have to stay where they are as well. The biggest tricks that we have right now are to make sure that Mortarion fights last, for starters. Turns off the I cannot be benefited by aura. And then at that point, maybe they take on Mortarion. These Deathwing Terminators over on the left flank here, need to help to deal with this Demon Prince, and then get ready to weather probably one of the most obnoxious squads in the game, the Deathshroud Terminators.
I mean, they stood firm against when I played against Curie, right? Against like 4 Deathshroud.
Yeah.
Then again, those are all fun to have a Storm Shield, so that does make a difference.
Yeah, in this case, Lockjaw's list is extremely offensive by nature. There are very few Storm Shields, relying instead on the innate toughness of the transhuman physiology to keep them going. But EDP's list just does not really care. They got the reroll 1s to wound on everything anyway, which kind of helps to offset that. They've got a lot of problems dealing with bigger units like this because they are mostly melee against Mortarion, who's just like, I don't care about your rerolls. Tactical Marines going over here to deal with the orange Poxwalkers as best as possible. I fully expect these Deathwing Terminators in the ruins to come out to help deal with this Death Guard Demon Prince just in case. They can stay in the ruins where they are right now and be relatively happy, but they will probably want to charge at this Demon Prince if he's not dead by the end of the turn. We also do have the Command Squad coming in on the left side, on the right side of this Death Guard Demon Prince to smash him. Oh, it looks like he's going out. Nah, he's going out. Okay, so he's not even putting chance at it. Lockjaw is just saying, you know what? We're going to rip this guy apart. The D3 damage here is actually going to be helpful against the Death Guard because of the fact that they could roll a 3, which comes down to a 2. Makes it strictly better than a Power Fist in this situation. And the Bolters are coming out. The Bolters could help to remove some Poxwalkers, forcing one of the Deathshroud Terminators to sit on the objective instead, potentially. But this does mean that these Deathwing Terminators are now very vulnerable, and since they are the thing that is keeping the Stubborn Defiance up and running, not exactly where you want to be. It's definitely a risky play. Servitors are moving on to the objective to continue to hold it, even if these Deathwing Terminators go down. Yeah, good play. Makes sense. The Ravenwing Talonmaster needs to come out and do something. It looks like Mortarion is not going to get shot at this turn and is going to instead get charged by all the Terminators possible. Fair enough. So that leaves the Ravenwing Talonmaster to deal with these Teal Poxwalkers, which, if he can, will be a big help.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you need to get rid of these little obsec units that can be like super annoying. So the Talonmaster actually has a good chance of just wiping that unit, hitting on 2s.
Yeah. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s with everything. The damage to Heavy Bolter does actually do something against Poxwalkers. Talonmaster's actually moving on to the objective too. Very risky, because that's entropy cannon territory.
For sure.
This feels like playing...
he might be looking for a charge here, like 2 Mortarion, like afterwards.
Maybe.
Talonmaster's actually no slouch in combat either, so...
They are a bit of a slouch, though. 4 attacks at strength 5, 1 damage is not great.
You need everything you can get against Mortarion.
That's true. We still also have the Mortal Wounds out of Ezekiel to help out in the Psychic phase, potentially against Mortarion, although Mortarion does have 3 denies, so they're not guaranteed. And the Captain exists. The Captain does have a Thunderhammer, Rites of Battle to give OBSEC where it's needed. There's definitely options there. Creeper brings up a good... Go ahead.
If he gets the Fight Blast off against Mortarion, and then literally charges like most of his army into him, there is actually a chance Mortarion goes down, especially with that like -1 to the invul save as well.
Yeah, the Primaris Chaplain getting up close with that 5-up invul and save, the invul and save reduction actually will make a big difference. And although his damage is not exactly stellar, he's not exactly tooled up to be the 4 damage, strength 8 super chaplain.
It's going to be the Apothecary that kills him, though, right? The Apothecary is
I would not put the Apothecary anywhere near Mortarion in terms of melee. That is just asking to get shot.
He disagrees with you. The Apothecary is zooming right up there. He's not afraid.
Just to apply that 6-inch Feel No Pain aura to his friends, if Ezekiel can turn off the aura, that will make a big difference to the survivability of these Terminators.
So Creeper's saying the melee isn't sufficient. I mean, what key, do you just not go in then? Like
on math, I would agree.
Your army's like here. It's slow moving. You have to go in and just try. Math Hammer will only tell you so much at the end of the day. Like sometimes you just gotta wish for a bit of luck to bring something down like this, and it's all you can do.
Yeah,
and I think Lockjaw is in that situation right now, where it's just like weight of dice, weight of attacks, have to sort of work in his favor, get rid of Mortarion, and if he actually does it, like if he actually somehow does it, this fight phase is going to be huge. If he actually gets rid of Mortarion here, it's a big deal for this flank because there's literally like a Plague Burst Crawler and a Sorcerer and a Druid here.
Yeah. Because at that point, that's one of the While We Stand We fights that are dead, one of them being threatened. And one of the home objectives with the banner being threatened at that point as well. The other flank might go down in the meantime, but if very suddenly this right flank goes down, there's only so many units the Death Guard have to hold objectives as well. You know, they'll have to be careful. This Death Guard Demon Prince might also be very dead, which means that, hey, the attack bikes could survive. If the attack bike moves out of combat, that is. He might stay in combat just to avoid Overwatch, though. We'll have to see. Primaris Champion moving up, getting within range of the Mortarion, as expected. Sorry, Erver, what were you about to say?
So it's the Chaplain that has the reduction of Invul save, right?
Yeah. Let's see, and Ezekiel is going to try to get within range to do some stuff as well, it seems.
I'm still amazed that we got to see a Psychic Hood actually deny something.
Yeah, man.
And
Psychic Hood's ability is good.
It's just super clutch. Like, so no -1 to hit on Mortarion.
Yeah, which means that theoretically,
never ever seen like used ever in a game of 40k.
Which is well, the thing is, it's more there to be a threat to not get within 12 inches of a Space Marine Librarian, unless we're going to kill it.
EDT just forgot about it completely.
Well, he knew he was moving within deny range of it. Like that's fair, but within range of the Psychic Hood, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So see if that costs him. Like not having that -1 to hit is a big deal.
Oh, that 100% makes an issue. The Sorcerer is within deny range. Not that it matters, because Mortarion's in deny range as well. And Mortarion does have 3 denies, so Ezekiel can try to stay out of Sorcerer deny range all he wants, but it's not like it's going to matter that much.
Mortarion having like 3 denies is super disgusting as well.
It's another layer of defenses against a lot of armies that rely on their Psychic Phase to do extra damage. That Morty honestly is just so defensive, and that's another layer of it. It hurts. I look at the Silent King, he's like, yeah, I've got 1 deny. I got 1 deny and 4 up invuln save, and that's it. I am the leader of an entire race, and that's all I get. Meanwhile, Morty's just sitting there at like 40 more points and way more effective for what he does, for sure. Alright, second phase, starting up. Let's go ahead and listen to the players.
This is big.
Power goes off.
That is a 9 with my +1.
Come on.
ET's looking to try to deny this 9 cast spell. I think this might be Mindworm.
Alright.
Oh, what is he doing?
I don't know. Like
ET's just making dice for fun at this point.
Yeah.
Does not deny.
So that'll be a mortal wound.
And a fight last.
That's a big deal.
Now, does the mortal wound go off? Yeah. So he's down to 12. That's a start. It's a start. The fight last is a big deal too.
Next, you want to mind wipe him. I could smite. Or do you want to mind?
I'd smite. Like it's just.
Oh, I mind wipe to get rid of that can't benefit from auras thing
smite.
right away.
Oh, yeah.
But he's going for the smite. That's fair. Wow! Undeniable! Undeniable! D6 damage smite. This could be huge.
Oh, this could hurt. This could
A
sting.
doctor smite.
You're only +1 to influence.
Okay, sure. Then that goes off, and I'll do D3 mortals. It's 2.
What?
No, you still roll an 11, so you still super smited.
But then it's 3 mortal wounds.
And he fails all 3. That's 3 damage from Morty.
Okay.
He's bracketed. That's a big difference.
This has been the best part of this game. Okay, so
Lord, just saying that's the best part of the game. Like so far.
Yep. Ezekiel
Mortal
just did a total of 5 damage to Morty. He's done the vast majority of it, actually.
Hitting on 3s.
All by himself.
And wounding on 4s. Yeah, 3 wounds. Cool. 3 Poxwalkers. Goodbye.
All right.
Next we are gonna have the
Poxwalkers are in a
tactical
bit of
squad over
trouble.
here. Shoot at this Poxwalkers over there.
Okay, now this is the only thing that the tax squad can really shoot and kill, so they're going to try to do what they can.
Oh, wait a minute. We are. 1. I think 2 are in half range, so I'll get 7 shots.
That guy can't actually see that guy.
I think from his base he can see them.
Yeah, he can see something, but he can't see.
Okay, they're currently debating line of sight, whether or not this bolter has range
Okay,
and
that's
line of
fine.
sight.
Sure. We'll call it 6 shots. No problem. Okay,
This is why you gotta look down sometimes.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
So hitting on
Now,
fours,
these are
hitting
wounding on
fours.
4s. All that might have been...
And these are
Okay,
8d1.
4 wounds. These are 5 up, feel no pains here for the Poxwalkers.
Feel no pains.
6 up, feel no pains for the Poxwalkers. My bad. Okay, that's still 2 dead Poxies. Oh, but a couple had cover. Okay, so yeah, that still kills 2
Wait, I have
Poxies.
AP1. If you have
They're AP1
7
because
plus
that's-
7,
Tactical Doctrine.
AP1 AP. So that should kill 3, I believe. Sure.
Alright, so it's 3 Poxwalkers down.
Okay, next we'll have these Terminators with their Storm Bolters blast away at the Poxwalkers.
So the Storm Bolters going to the Poxwalkers as well to remove a potential objective secured unit from that objective, meaning that the Death Shroud Terminators are going to have to hold it. Not what you want to have to do. Good amount of wounds, too. These are AP -1, so these are just 6 of Feel No Pains. 7 die. That is the squad.
Yep. There we go.
Alright, so that removes an option for the Death Guard. Fair.
Next, my Apothecary is going to fire a frag shell at the Poxwalkers, and I'm going to use the stratagem for Stasis Shell.
Alright, so Stasis Shell into the Poxwalkers.
All he's doing, he's going to charge the Talonmaster into there, and then the Poxwalkers can't pull back.
To keep the Talonmaster alive. Really smart choice.
I've been under the effects of this. I didn't like it. It's Death Guard before. Yep. It's annoying. Like.
Yeah, it
And
turns
that's
out
it.
real good strat.
And then oh no,
Is that a crack?
no, that was a frag shot. Well, no, I guess I should use crack. It was a crack shot because I only get 1 shot. Okay, so if I score a hit, the attack sequence ends and that unit cannot fall back. Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay. I don't think it does any damage.
No, it doesn't do any damage.
Back to the end, so yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, no damage.
It just literally goes, you can't fall back.
Yeah,
that's
but
it.
those 2 Poxwalkers are dead from Chaplain shooting earlier, I believe, so...
Thanks for all the follows tonight, guys, by the
Yes,
way.
you're right,
There's
you
a lot
have
of
to-
you.
you have to be right.
Hope you're enjoying this game as well.
Next, we'll have the Talonmaster shoot at the Lockjaw. Hitting on 2. You're right, I can. Okay, and the Assault Cannon as well.
And the Assault Cannon as well.
And
These
this
are all
is,
wounding on
strength
3s.
6,
Yeah,
wounding on
it's all
4s.
bad.
Wounding on 5.
This could very well wipe the Poxwalkers.
No, it's not. He's
so
shooting the
81.
drone here.
Oh, okay.
No point shooting the Poxwalkers because he wants to charge them. It's Talonmaster.
Right, fair point. Alright, so the Fetid Bullet Drone takes 3. It's still alive. And it's not like it falls, it's not like it has any problems, you know, staying alive. The attack pack, by the way, did stay in combat with the Death Guard Demon Prince here, just to make sure to
this is
avoid
good
the Flamer Overwatch.
I'm going to start with the Talonmaster charging your Poxwalkers.
Alright, Poxwalkers, let's see how they do. That's a 10-inch charge from the Talonmaster here.
This is my objective now.
Well, it will be his objective in a second here.
Do it like this.
I see.
Okay, next, my Deathwing Knights will charge Mortarion.
Does the Frag Shell remove OBSEC?
They get +2, they can move 12 inches.
Maybe? I have no idea.
Alright, so that makes a big difference because now the Death Guard aren't going to get 15 points for their primary.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much guaranteed. Deathwing Knights are in on Mortarion. He needs to leave a little bit of room here, although the Chaplain can just stay back and apply his buffs. Ezekiel going in is extremely
Oh,
risky.
Ezekiel's going in?
Maybe.
Okay,
It's extremely risky, though.
Leaving a wedge for the other characters to get in. Next, my Captain will charge Mortarion.
Okay, Captain's charging in. He's got +1 to this because of his Warlord trait. It's going to be an 8-inch charge.
Thankfully, because of the litany, he's going to move 9 inches, and he made the charge.
Never mind. That's not how that works. Forget what I said. I need to look up on these guys a bit more.
I think there was room for Ezekiel to get in there. Nope.
No, Ezekiel cannot get in. Ezekiel is now kind of out in the open and will probably be plague bombarded.
The weird size of his base can literally like curve around within an inch of these two.
Okay,
models.
other side. I'm going to have my Command Squad charge the Demon Prince.
Okay.
Cool. A 10 is good.
hitting all these charges as well. Like with
Yeah,
big
that's
numbers.
important. Well, some of these were set up such that they would be very difficult to fail. The Deathwing Command Squad.
Terminators over here will charge more. The
I just meant on his numbers for like his charge rolls. So
Ah!
roll below. And there's a 12. Like he doesn't roll below like a 9 on all of those charges.
All right, so he has to make sure he keeps at least
okay.
one guy towed in on the objective to keep that OBSEC.
Terminators don't have OBSEC, do they?
No.
There you go.
In fact, I don't think you have any objective secured models on this half of the battlefield. It's just the Poxwalkers and the Cultists, right?
All right, astutely observed, Lockjaw. Astutely observed.
Yeah, but the Death Shroud could just like delete this shit. Like.
Yeah, they could. But now they have an interesting decision that they have to make here. We can expect the Foul Blight Spawn to go on to this middle objective and flame these Space Marines to death. And both squads of Death Shroud Terminators to try to remove the Stubborn Defiance, but that'll be difficult.
The Deathwing Terminators fighting the Demon
Yeah,
Prince.
a sensible decision. So at the start of the fight phase, these
so
Deathwing
Chain
Terminators are going to go
Fists
first to
first.
avoid being interrupted upon.
12 attacks on the Chain Fists. They hit on 4s.
Not the hit roll you're looking for. Wounding on 3s, though. Not the wound roll you're looking for. These are at AP minus enough to put you on your 5-up invuln. And these are D3 damage. Let's see if it does anything. It is enough to do 3 damage.
Okay, and next we'll have the Thunderhammer.
No C. Oh, wait, does he not have the C? He does have the CP to interrupt, but he's decided not to. Thunderhammer. These are hitting on 4s. Nice. Wounded on 3s. Nice. These are going to be 2 wounds. AP minus 2, though. That goes through. It's another 2 damage. The Death Guard Demon Prince is still alive on 3 wounds
Next,
left.
I can consolidate, and I will tap you in base-to-base contact. Would you like to interrupt before the next unit?
So that was just the 1 unit, by the way. So this is going to the Deathwing Command Squad. The Demon Prince is fighting back. Good roll, though. The Command Squad is going to have their work cut out for them.
Oh, the Demon Prince.
Okay, so it doesn't actually matter. They're all 4+ the Storm Shield, so it's all 4+ invulnerable.
So it's the 2 of them dead.
Yeah, that'll wipe my Terminators. Okay, they're dead.
Shame that.
Yeah.
A good spend of 2 CP.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go for the Deathwing Knights.
Okay, now for the Deathwing Knights. This is important.
Give them 2 CP for no foe too great to subdue to give them +1 wound and +1 AP.
That's a big deal.
Oof. Yeah.
And they get a 6-inch.
Especially now that
I said I'm going to pay 2 CP for no foe too great to subdue to give the Knights +1 to wound and +1 AP.
That's good.
Yeah, so this actually makes a big
no
difference
real.
because now they're hitting on 3s. 2, sorry, wounding on
Big
3s.
one. Okay, so the Maces. 12 attacks on the Maces.
And the captain's
hitting on
within
2s.
range as well, so they're hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s.
Ouch, that really hurts.
No
And
rerolls.
wounding on 3s with +1.
Right.
Oh my god.
All right, that's pretty bad actually. 5-up invulns though.
AP 3, damage 3.
Yeah, you are strength 8, right?
Yes. Strength 8, and I get the +1 to wound.
Now it does mean that it's 9 damage down to 6 that's gone through.
So that would be 6 damage. Right, 9 which you reduce to 6.
Morty down to 3.
Morty down
Yikes.
by 3, sorry, is down to 6 as a
Oh
result.
my god, that was huge on me.
Yeah,
Night
no,
Master
like,
attacks.
like
Night
just a little bit of bad rolling means Morty doesn't
And
die.
he's wounding on 4s. Nothing.
Ugh, the flail does nothing. All right, now it's time for the Chain Fists to do some work here.
Then we'll attack with the Captain.
No, Captain's going in first. He's got a Thunderhammer.
5 attacks.
He's hitting on 3s because of the -1.
On 3s, -1.
They all hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
4 wounds. That's actually huge. And it's enough. That's 6
6
damage right there. Does that kill him? He needs to roll at least 1 5-up here. He could die. He's alive on 1 wound.
5 goes.
Oh, that fight last is making
Next,
money, man.
The Deathwing Terminators. Sure, let's do the Chain Fists first. Yeah, so Chain Fist Terminators have 3 attacks each. Would be 12 attacks.
No, they didn't. The Deathwing Terminators didn't move, so they do have a +1 to hit here.
Shadows.
That's so weird. Like, yeah, they do.
You're
They do actually have
right. I
+1.
did not turn that off. You're right. Okay, 2 attacks each. So 8 attacks with the Chain Fists. You know, this is really down to the wire. I'm gonna pay 1 CP for Fury the First. Plus
Fury
1
the First going in. That means that they're hitting on 2s.
Chances here. Okay, cool. So 8 attacks on the Chain Fist. Hitting on 2s.
Good thing too.
And then 4s to wound. No rerolls.
Oh,
3 wounds.
Have 5-up invuln. Oh, look how much
And
more
then
damage is done.
2d3.
2d3 damage can mean a big difference here. Nope, it's just 2 damage, but he needs 2 5-ups. No, Mortarion goes down. Does he explode?
Oh,
He doesn't even
Weak.
explode. Mortarion
I was
dies.
not sure that was going to happen.
Now,
Yeah, the Knights just really under-delivered, but luckily the captain.
the captain did the
I-
work.
I-
Absolute hero. I agree with Lockjaw here.
Safe distance from him.
It's a big deal. Like, you know, so while we stand, like, gone,
Yep, so that means they're even now on that.
all of a sudden, it opens up this flank as well, right? Like,
Yes, of course.
Well, what does he have?
Okay, then next.
What,
I'll
what,
have
what
the
does
Master Attack
EDT
Fox
have to counter this
that's
on
one
the
thing.
on the
It
side
opens, it
now?
opens up the flank for Lockjaw because there's literally like a play burst caller and a sorcerer like on this flank. And I guess I'm not even going to count the cultists. Like,
No, the cultists literally died to a stiff breeze. The Primaris Chaplain on his own can walk in and kill them all.
And I think wounding on 3s.
Okay, and the Poxwalkers lose 2 more of their number.
yeah.
Yeah, one too many.
Now,
Okay, cool.
because of the grenade removing
and then
obsec,
I
that's an
think
issue there.
it's-
Now the Demon Prince already fought
I
back and
think
killed
you
the
get
2.
to attack with the Poxwalkers before I attack with the
Doesn't
attack
matter.
bike, right? Sure.
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, the
Attack
attack bike's
bike's
gonna fight
actually
back into this Death Guard
hitting
Demon
on
Prince.
2s with Grim Resolve.
Wow, 2 hits.
5s.
No wounds, big surprise there. Attack bikes aren't super great in melee, turns out.
Townmaster's not.
He's not obsec, no.
Alright, and
Yeah,
then EDT
well,
takes the objective
I
back.
can start off like,
Certainly no.
so I just outmodel you, like, on this objective.
Yeah.
4s,
So, Creeper,
5s.
it turns out that there was enough melee, but only just.
We're good.
And a big save.
Okay,
So the
cool.
Talon
And I
Master is
think
probably going
that's
to
the
sit
fight
here and wail and shoot his way through the entire
I'm gonna
objective.
go around.
Since the Boxwalkers can't fall back, he cannot be removed by shooting means.
Yep.
Which means that the
Boxwalkers are
Sorcerer's going to have to
fearless.
deal with him.
I don't think-
Unlikely.
and my-
Or
wiped
that they're
out.
going to have to redirect
cool. So I'll
redirect
pass
some Death Threat Terminators. Not likely to happen
Great turn
either.
though. Great turn for the Dark Angels here.
Massive
Really
turn.
pulling that
Yes,
back.
you do.
Like, sure, the
It's going to be another 15-point primary, though, isn't
getting
it?
another max primary, but this flank is just now so open. This Talon Master can fall back like next turn. He's got fall back and charge. He can go into those cultists on that back objective. You know, that's a real problem. Like right now, for the Death Guard to have to deal with. Like, but then again, we might see something similar happen on this flank right now. We might see Stubborn Defiance
Yeah,
go down.
Poxwalkers are unable to
from
fall
the
back
Death
to
Shroud.
Stasis Shell.
You know, it's great game so far. Like, I think it's one of like the closest games like that's
It's the
been
closest
played
Morty game we've had on stream, for sure.
top of three.
Yes, Diamond Boots, this is the Word Bearer's Morty Chowder that from EDT, EtomChin. But Morty's dead. Morty actually died this time, ladies and gentlemen. Turns out that an offensive DA list is capable of taking him out in melee with the appropriate buffs. There's your lesson, though, folks. Deathwing Knights are good. Night Masters and the Deathwing Knights are fantastic units. So the Poxwalkers can't fall back, which means that EDT is not going to be holding on to that objective for long. The entire melee section over here had like contingent over here has a slight weakness this turn. Ezekiel could get shot and killed this turn as a result of him being too far away from his friends, but Ezekiel's done his job. He dealt 5 mortal wounds and caused to Morty by himself, and then caused him to fight last 2 turns in a row, which caused Morty to die, turns out. And now, as a result, the Dark Angels have a very strong argument to be able to take this entire flank away from EDT, removing one banner eventually, and potentially actually removing another While We Stand We Fight target as well out of this Playburst Crawler if those Deathwing Knights can march up the field fast enough. On the west flank, however, there are enough Death Guard units right now that they could potentially start removing the Dark Angels from here as well, and that's a big problem because this is where their Stubborn Defiance secondary objective is. If they take that away, there's not enough stuff on the Dark Angels list to be able to actually take it back that's fast enough. At least I don't think. Not within the amount of time that they have left. Alright, the Sorcerer has moved backwards, advanced backwards even, I assume, to be able to get as far away as possible from everything and not die. Okay, and is also trying to stay out of charge range of those Terminators, has successfully done so. These Deathwing Knights cannot charge the Sorcerer to save their lives. The Cultists seemingly moving back, just staying safe. Can't blame them.
They just saw my turn die. They were like, "We're out of here."
But they did it. They were out of line of sight. So he's trying to make sure he's not within 12-inch charge range at all. Like, do not give them even the chance at making a charge onto this back objective. That should delay the Deathwings for another turn. This is the top of turn 3, actually, at this point. So this, like, that kind of deal, making sure that the Deathwing Knights cannot do anything for another turn is a big deal. It's a lot of points that are just not doing the damage they need to. Mind you, the Poxwalkers are still alive. For how long? We'll have to see. This is interesting. This
Oddly,
is
he didn't use the dead work again here, because, like, the Talmaster could just kill all these Poxwalkers, like, this phase, right?
It's this combat phase? No. But the following shooting phase, it's going to happen anyway. Like, he's got Arbiter's Gaze, so the -1 to hit in close combat isn't going to matter for all of the heavy bolters and assault cannons that are coming out, so these Poxwalkers are already dead. They've done the job that they need to do. The purple Death Shroud Terminators are now looking at a 4-inch charge into these Deathwing Terminators. That could really hurt, coupled with the Death Guard Demon Prince. The Foul Blight Spawn is looking for a chance to flamer these Space Marines off of the potential to take this middle objective, and the Death Shroud Terminators, the yellow ones, are looking for the ability to kill off this tactical squad as well. Where one flank has collapsed, the other flank is still very, very strong thanks to these Death Shroud Terminators, and the Demon Prince still having access to his own psychic powers now, including Warp Time. So if he absolutely has to, he can go ahead and Warp Time somebody, so long as they're within 6 inches. I don't think anybody is, though. So the only person who's Warp Timing is himself, and he really doesn't want to.
Yeah, so... Yeah, he can just swap out the Warp Time, though, again, like Chaos Family. So
he only has the 1 CP, though. I don't think the Tallyman went off this time.
No, it did not. So, Chaos Family is like 1 CP, right?
Yes,
so
it is.
You can just change it to, some model wind output, maybe? Or maybe just smites, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I would just smite at this point. It's one of the few weaknesses that Deathwing have. And being able to just potentially smite one away on a D3 is a big deal. Mind you, the Death Shroud Terminators can absolutely do some work here. Would you go for the Scythe attack or for the Cleave attack in this situation?
These guys just have Lightning Claws, so I just...
No, these guys should have Chain Fists across the board. No, they do have Lightning.
Okay.
One of them has a Lightning Claw. Hold on, let's take a look.
What I was meaning is there's no Storm Shields here, so...
Yeah, there's no Storm Shields.
So you can just go for weight of attacks, and there are 3 wounds, so you may as well just go for like the weight of attacks, free up save, and just be like every 3 saves you fail is a dead boy.
Yeah.
Post like every 1 save at AP2, and I'm just wasting damage. If he had another CP, he could go for the bigger attacks and actually have the damage spill over.
Yeah.
Which is a really neat strat.
Okay, the Plagueburst Crawler is looking to move back to get some big old shot. Whoa, what is EDT doing? Whoa! 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 What is that thing? What is that boy doing?
He's excited inside of it, okay? He's just jumping up and down, having a good old time.
He's a very happy demon engine. He just wants to play. I want to flip over the building. Come on, man, let me go.
Well, funny you say that. There's lots like Death Guard narrative where they actually have to chain them down, in the ships and everything.
I don't. Well, I mean, it's a gigantic demonic tank. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, this is definitely a weird situation to want to be in right now. We've got some things going. Is this the Plague Skull Glotilla going off right now?
Oh my god. We take 9
Oh.
9?
Okay. 9 mortals.
The Plague Skull Glotilla goes off. It's just what it does. Okay, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
At least my charge is farther now.
If you want, you can roll that back and not to the plague.
I think that at this point, if EDT says that his Demon Prince wasn't helpful this game, he would be very wrong. I remember the last game we had him on stream, he's like, yeah, I didn't even use my Demon Prince, whatever. Holy crap, that is a lot of damage.
Such a good relic.
He's killed 5 Terminators so far. That is a huge trade up. 5 Terminators and 2 attack plagues. That's enormous.
Yeah, no, this Demon Prince has done his work.
He super smites the Deathwing.
I will attempt to deny.
Okay, it's an attempted deny here.
Are you?
He needs a boxcar.
I am,
Yeah,
No.
you just-
but I do not successfully deny.
I like how he's very excited. Ezekiel's died 2 times over the course of our streams. He has not died again yet, but we're expecting a ting up to 3.
Okay.
4 mortal wounds onto the Terminators, plus 6 from the place spell.
My
They just took 10 mortal wounds.
God. Yeah, all those mortal wounds alone have done a lot of work, and now he's outside of an inch, actually, of the Demon Prince, I think? Which means the Demon Prince, I mean, can't attack them in close combat, but he doesn't need to.
Alright, the other guy will smite over here.
Sure.
Alright, so now we got another smite attempt out of the Sorcerer. It fails to go off.
That goes off because of the +1 from the
But he
relic.
kind of was lazy.
Oh, he has a relic that gives him a +1. Okay.
Oh, actually, sorry, he's +1 to cast, so I'll just adjust him just for the range or so.
Oh, he's warp timed himself, sorry.
Yeah, you can totally.
The Tome of something or I just have Tome of Malkador like in my head. I know that's a Space Marine one, but Chaos do have one as well. Malefic Tome, that's it.
And I'll press you in.
Raven Telemaster takes 2 damage from the smite.
Sure.
How did he see him?
No, not SCP. Yeah, definitely not.
From the tip of his flippin' sword, are you kidding me?
Okay.
Now that's modeling for advantage.
Yeah, how great that like metal like sorcerer have his sword pointed out at like a funky like early 90s GW angle.
Seriously,
I
jeez.
think I'm no longer in combat.
Like the new model's even worse. He has the staff, we see no
Oh
longer.
no! Well, now that now that the Terminator's not in combat, 2 shots out of the.
201. Nice. It does wound. So 4 up.
What? Reroll with a command point?
No, he is a free reroll for 10 points.
Okay, sure. So that's what,
Okay.
1 wound?
1 wound
wound.
out of the flamer onto the Deathwing Terminator. It saves.
Okay.
Toast. That's
No,
fine.
it doesn't. Hold on. That thing only has AP -3. Never mind, he's dead. All right, so yeah, that's the end of Stubborn Defiance. I actually would have just tried to charge the Death Shroud Terminator. I would have thought that was better, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, he can just move them their next turn and put a banner up, so it's actually fine.
Yeah, but he could have been on there for like definitely full point primary next turn. This turn.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Start this guy here. 2 entry
Oh, well.
into Ezekiel.
Yeah, here we go.
Order into...
So will Ezekiel die? He's not dead right now.
Entropy cannons go. Form of Ezekiel death. Let's find out. Now, hold on. Do I have the Ezekiel death counter? Oh, do I have to update that in the... Hold on. Let me just check here. Where do I have this? Yep, I have it. Okay, yep. I'm ready to update it. We're good to go.
Okay.
Is he permanent transmuting?
He is. He's the inner circle.
Okay, cool. So nothing. No attacks.
I'm not sure what's going on anymore. I've lost the plot.
Really randomly fast rolling stuff and
1 save, please.
Sure.
Times 2
AP 1.
damage here. Oh, that was in Mulder, but you're fine. And Stubbers, 2 hits.
It looks like Ezekiel has survived.
yeah, I think he's fine for now.
For 3, saved.
He's 2 up?
He is. 2 up, armor save, 4 plus invulnerable.
Oh wow, he's not even in Terminator armor.
Terminator, and he doesn't even.
That's why we have an Ezekiel die counter.
Cool. Alright, so the other guy's gonna dunk everything into the space.
Everything's going into the Space Marines here in cover.
So,
Because they could potentially steal an objective from EDT or restart Stubborn Defiance and at least try to scavenge some points back. But right now, Stubborn
yeah,
Defiance is going to be worth 2
2s.
points for the whole game, probably.
I have cover,
Well,
so
that's
I think I
rough.
save on
Yeah.
6s.
perfect.
Entropy Cannon says only one
one
Space
lives.
Marine dies.
One had to do that to me.
1
But-
lives.
3 mortar.
The mortars all hits. The mortars wound on 2s. They all wound, saving on 4s because of
Four
cover.
ups of cover.
That's
So
2 that
2
die.
Is it flat 2 damage? Okay.
Stubbers.
And now for the Stubbers.
2 saves. That AP1.
Sure. That's strength 5, AP 1. Okay, sure. Looking for 3s.
Saves them
Save.
both. Okay, so there's 2 Tactical Marines still left alive.
Alright, I might have.
Firstborn are within an 8-inch charge, which is not great. But there are going to be some Plague Spirit Gauntlets going into them.
Yeah.
Good grief. Good absolute grief. So where one flank collapsed because Morty's gone, now the other flank has collapsed. And it's arguably the more important flank here, just because Stubborn Defiance going down is a huge blow. Okay, you need to reroll all those ones, my friend. There you go. There you go. Okay, so a few wounds here, but these are saving on 2s because they're in cover. They don't ignore cover with these Plague Spirit Gauntlets.
Yep, no Lord of
AP
Realms
0.
to give them like extra AP or anything.
So
Just-
choose to save.
No Lord of Virulence. I mean, it's not like that
And I
Demon
think
Prince
that-
walked up and just murdered an entire squad of Deathwing on his own.
Yeah, sorry,
Uh,
my mic was muted. I pressed the mute.
Sure. So if it's
Hey,
AP 0,
my
you
my,
save
my Lord of
two.
Realms killed two
yeah,
Troop Masters.
I take 2
was actually
damage,
really
and I
happy
will
with
leave the
that.
sergeant.
Yeah, no, go him. Did he punch them?
Yeah, you punched them with a smelly fist and they died. It's
His
great.
money's worth.
All right, D6 automatic hits from the Death Guard Demon Prince with the Flamer. That's a bunch of wounds.
3 saves.
3 saves. This could wound the attack bike, but not kill it.
You were a heavy weapon.
He's a monster, so he can shoot in combat.
Oh, okay, sure. Yep, he's a monster. Sure. AP 1.
This is a close game still.
He'll take 2 damage. Sure.
As we know.
Mind you, this is going to be a 5-point primary for the Dark Angels if the combat phase doesn't go his way. Which it
yeah.
can't.
Okay, so
That's
the
rough.
dude over here is gonna charge into the servitors.
The Fed Blow Drone's going to try to remove the servitors from existence.
I had an argument to try to go back to this area.
Morty for the win. Yeah, Morty might have died, but his sacrifice was not in vain, it seems. It really does look like EDT's list has just got one too many threats for Lockjaw's list to be able to handle at the moment.
Start with what's important. I need a 7-ish.
But it
Well,
is the
see,
first time we've
like,
seen
there-
Morty die. And it's
If
not
like
the...
Telemaster kills like most of this boxwalkers unit, like he can do exactly what like EDT's like done here on the reverse flank.
Uh-huh.
Telemaster free to like roam and just like kill everything like on this home objective over here.
Yeah, no, I could see him actually... I could actually see him walk up and smite the Poxwalkers to allow the Ravenwing Telemaster to do some shooting. Or just like continue to stay in combat, shoot some
Telemaster
stuff.
can fall back, shoot, and charge, right?
Great.
I believe they can fall back and shoot for some CP. Okay,
Right.
that's...
Do that like innately. Like I remember that being a thing against
Mhm.
Fury.
Alright, so yeah, the Death Shroud Terminator has charged the Tactical Marines.
And he's
Purple Death
just
Shroud.
he's just like, yeah.
Can they stretch? Will it bend? What did he roll on that charge of 14?
I don't know what's going on. Like honestly,
He's trying to string out to kill the Space Marine Sergeant whilst also being on the objective. So he's now touching the objective. He's just the... Yeah, there we go. So he's now holding the objective. That was an idea. That would have been the idea I would have gone for earlier.
At the end, yeah.
I'll throw a Foul Blight Spawn in on an 8.
Foul Blight Spawn's also charging in here. He gets in it
I
on a 9.
I don't think I've seen a charge bolt roll below a 9. I've been
Yeah,
trying.
yeah, it's been a lot of good charges. And even the ones that were lower, they were already in combat anyway, pretty much, so. Now he's determining what he's going to do with the Fetid Bloat Drone. He's going to go after the Apothecary. That might not be a bad plan. Shame that, like, that interruption on from the Death Guard Demon Prince actually saved that Demon Prince's life. And made sure that that flank collapsed under the weight of one Demon Prince with a Plague Skull. Alright, the Fetid Bloat Drone has now tagged the Servitors. The Servitors are as good as dead. They'll be turned into Pillsbury
Let's
dough
take down the
cookies in
banner,
a second
and
or
I
two.
am not going to heroic with the Apothecary. Maybe if you were close to the captain, that would be different.
The Fetid
Yeah,
Bloat Drone will live.
we've seen what happens on stream when you throw a thing to being with Path Priest with the Salamanders player.
What on earth is he doing?
Yeah.
EDT. What on earth, dude? Oh, he was removing the banner with that charge because he controlled it at the start of the fight phase.
Great.
That's a big deal. So there's no banners up currently for Lockjaw right now, which is a huge blow to Secondaries again.
10, 9 attacks.
EDT getting first turn like this has been pretty brutal.
What, 8 strength on this thing? 7 strength. Okay.
Yeah, the Space Marine Sergeant is probably dead.
Okay.
He just needs to roll a bajillion 5s. No, the Space Marine
There we go
Sergeant is...
through,
Oh,
6 damage, very dead.
yeah, so that's the end of that Sergeant, and the end of the flank. There's one Dark Angel unit left on this flank, and the Death Guard Demon Prince will probably take care of it.
I mean, he does get activation here, so he could just fight with the bike and then fall back. That's the thing he could do.
That's true. That's true.
And the drone will go into...
Protoculture asks a question. However, do you not run Morty because 1, you think the opportunity cost for points is too high, or 2, it makes it less fun to play, or 3, that you consider it makes the game less fun for your opponent?
Right, so it's a very good question. Like, I like running pure Death Guard, so Mortarian's not that great in there.
Well, he's certainly not
Oh, I'm
bad.
sorry, I thought
He's just
this
not
was-
as exceptionally
I
oppressive.
am running like Word Bearers now, just with Death Guard as standard. And the problem though is Drakari. Like Drakari can just run rings around Mortarion. Right now, like there's no reason for Drakari to ever interact with him, even with
Okay,
Warp
sure.
Time.
Yeah, that'll just wipe them out. It's AP,
Because
right?
you can spread out that far with Drakari. So Mortarion say goes into like a raider. Yeah, sure, he pops the raider, and then the rest of the army just runs away from him, and can just randomly like fire dart lances into him, or just focus on the rest of your force. That it kind of kills this list
Non-charging units next.
that EDT is running. I've seen
I'll start with
someone.
the Talon Master.
Well, EDT will tell you actually. He ran this list at GT,
Hitting on 2s.
and when he came across Drakari, he just lost every game because of that exact reason.
2 dead.
Okay, so the Poxwalkers, 2 of them go down to this Talon Master. Yeah, I'd imagine that the Dark Eldar have a really good, the Drukhari have a really good matchup. One of the main things in that matchup that I think would be interesting is the fact that Raiders are as cheap as they are, and they are
well, yeah,
each
plus
equipped
2
with a
plus
Dark
weapon
Lance.
skill,
So if you
so-
do need to focus down Morty,
I don't
you
think
still
I need
can,
that,
because
but
you
it's
bring
good
like
for that.
4 to 5 Raiders in a match almost all
Seven,
the
dude.
time.
What do you mean 5? 7.
Sure.
7, yeah. And then on top of that, you still have like the cheapest 50 to 75 point succubus that can just do
AP
chunks of mortal wounds
On
to
the
your
health
opponent.
sword.
Yeah.
take-
I mean,
So there's definitely some.
I played
Damage
EDT last
very
night. We
good.
did Drakari versus Death Guard. We came across like one like really interesting thing, and I kind of threw the game because I wanted to like test something as well, which was he sent in like two squads of witches, 5
Cool.
Incubi,
So Apothecary
Drazar,
has a mighty,
an Archon
is he in range of
into
Ezekiel?
4 Death Shroud
He
Terminators
is.
with -1 to
So he
hit,
gets
and
4
he killed
attacks.
2 Terminators with all of that.
And +1 for Grim Resolve.
So Drakari really don't like Death Shroud Terminators. They can't really deal with them
And I
in
think we
combat.
have
Like
5.
reducing their damage,
I think it's 1.
like from 2 to 1 is like such a huge deal
You're good.
that yeah, they just kind of bounced completely off like the Death Shroud.
Yeah.
But
I'm
whereas
sorry,
like with
I didn't mean
Mortarion,
to
like
say
this
that.
one big single model, they can just ignore it. Like they don't need to interact with it. I actually played a game with as Eldar with someone that ran Morty, and I just didn't
Okay, I'll
interact with him like the
get
entire
5,
game.
for,
I just completely ignored him.
Prime.
Yeah, and as soon as this turn starts, it's not a good situation here for Lockjaw. No raise the banners. Stubborn Defiance doesn't tick. He's only got a 5-point primary. I think it's safe to say we know where this is headed, but we don't know for sure yet. There are still some tools here in the Dark Angels kit that could pop out here and do some actual work. But it is definitely a tough one.
What you are going to see is Bellator, though, like in Death Guard list for sure. Like, you take like Bellator and a bunch of Terminators and a couple of like Ghost Crawlers, that your opponent's going to have a bad time.
Yeah, Bellator is going to be an interesting thing to see. I can't wait to see him because he was he's the only demon model I painted and enjoyed.
Nice.
Like
I'm
the
just-
old model too. Painted him
I'm
like
buying a
Diablo.
new sculpt just for the new sculpt. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm
It's
tempted to as well. Like I don't
just
have
someone
any
who
other
wants to
chaos
paint
models,
and
but
sit it on a shelf and just look at it. You know, it's
oh my god,
it's so
he's
beautiful.
beautiful. I painted his original model for my buddy's Chaos Space Marines. I painted him up like Diablo back in like high school,
Oh, nice,
and it was that was really really fun. And I was actually kind of proud of that model at the time. I think if I look back on that now, if I could like if he hadn't sold the model off and all that stuff, I'd be like, man, he still looks like garbage. But like this new sculpt for him is super cool. If I liked any other model in the demon range, I might start playing demons for him alone. But I really don't. So like. Yeah, there is that. I love Bellator. He's a pretty cool model. I love the idea that he's like the only Chaos Undivided like greater demon / demon, like the first demon prince.
Yeah.
He's
And
sick.
he's gonna be fucking commander, I think, as well.
I should hope so. The size of that model indicates he definitely ought to be. At that point though, like you aren't gonna be able to run him with Morty easily. I think,
Yeah, I mean, you just wouldn't like.
Yeah.
You know.
So at that point, you have to start making a choice. We can start. I imagine that we'll start seeing that with, other choices as well, and certain list restrictions as time goes on, which will force Chaos Soups to really deal with only one big monster rather than 40, which seems to be the case these days. Right now, I'm currently curious as to what the Dark Angels will be able to do. As it stands right now, the Ravenwing Talonmaster will take this objective away from the Poxwalkers, but then he will get promptly shot to death by all the mortars. The Deathwing Knights will have to sit on the objective to do stuff, but then at that point, we're pinning those Deathwing Knights on there. The Deathwing Terminators over here will be able to charge the Fetid Blow Drone and rip him apart, but then they're pinned to the far objective here.
I mean, one squad of Terminators can string out amongst two.
Yeah, but only barely.
Okay.
And even then, it's like, then you become vulnerable to the entropy cannons.
Yeah, that's true, fair. Like, this Talmaster needs to, like, start threatening this, like, back home objective. But in answer to your question, for the coaches as well, I can't play the style list. I'm, like, really bad at, like, having, like, these really small pieces that I'm, like, relying on to do so much. I just play really badly. So that just comes down to, like, personal, like, play style. So there's no point me. I know this list is more powerful than the list I run in Alpha, but there's no point me running the style list just because I play it badly. So
Yeah,
you know.
I can second that. Playing OBSEC Necrons specifically to play for objectives and everything was a new experience, and I learned a lot from playing it. But I'm with Erebor on this one. If you have not played it before and you're expecting to do well with it, don't. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but playing what you know, you will do better. I honestly think that I would have done worse playing Tau, but I definitely would have been a much more interesting opponent in more situations, and I think I would have had more fun too. So yeah, like play to what you know definitely helps. So as far as the Canticles going off, we have the Canticle of Hate and the Litany of Hate going off the Primaris Chaplain. So that's rerolls to hit, and the Canticle of Hate is the pluses to charge and pile-in and consolidates. Ravenwing Apothecary moving up with these Deathwing Knights, applying that 6-inch Feel No Pain. He fell back to do so. None of them are dead or anything or hurt, so like whatever, I guess. The Fetid Blow Drone is now on his own, and this is where I think it would have been interesting to have the Stubborn Defiance objective be this objective back here where Morty was.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he actually would have been holding it the entire time.
Right? Like we're seeing it in action. What we discussed like last Sunday. You suddenly take that away from them, and it's 15 points just gone, like completely, and there's nothing that the DA can really do about it.
Yeah, this particular list of it anyway. If they had the Raven Wing be a stronger component of the list, it might be a bit different. But as it stands, Deathwing Terminators do not move fast. That is going to cause some problems.
No warp time for Dark Angels, unfortunately.
No, sadly. You can't have everything with every list. It's going to be tough. But at this point, Ezekiel is within range to potentially put out some smites, do some other things to remove auras, potentially, like bodyguard auras from a unit. I'm not sure if that removes auras from a unit or a model now that I think about it. Where is Mind Worm? That's fight last. It's Mind Wipe. There we go. Mind Wipe removes enemy unit. Yeah, so you can remove the bodyguard aura in that sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But to do what exactly?
Yeah.
There's not enough shooting in the list to be able to make great use of that right now. Now, it's worth mentioning here that the Ravenwing Talmaster will hold this objective, but it's the only one on the objective right now. The Deathwing Knights advanced, so they won't be able to charge the Poxwalkers. And this little brick here of heavily armored Space Marines isn't doing anything till next turn now, pretty much. The Talonmaster is going to kill them, but then won't be alive long enough to really hold the objective, and there's nothing else on this objective to give Lockjaw a bonus here. How different are the lists from Lockjaw and Curry? So there are some significant differences between the two. The main difference is that Curry's list is a little bit more defensive, has more Storm Shields and Thunder Hammers, and relies more on being defensive in that sense. Okay, there we go. Now they're noticing the issue I mentioned before. Forget what I said earlier. The other thing is that Lockjaw's list, being far more offensive, has like Chain Fist, Storm Bolters, and a lot more of that going on. And the tech piece of the Primaris Chaplain with the invulnerable save reduction. The Reliquary of the Repentant, which is a big deal. That allows those Terminators to hit a bit harder, and it's what made Morty die. That said, at what cost? Okay, so Mindworm has gone on to these guys. So now the Deathshroud Terminators fight last for whatever reason. I'm not sure if they were going to fight next turn anyway.
Well, they can get warp time, so they can still be a threat. Like,
okay, no deny. So now it's a smite that's gone off for 2 mortal wounds. One of the Terminators is down to dead. And another one is... No, he's removing... Which one? He's removing different ones here. Okay, cool. What? I'm very confused. Okay, cool. Things happened. That's fine. Let's move right along. I don't want to boost up the volume here. Okay, looking for some shots from these storm bolters.
Storm bolters. I guess there's all the storm bolters are going to shoot at the blow drone then.
All right, so all the storm bolters are shooting into the blow drone here. These will be hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s. They, I think, are still in tactical doctrine, but I've been wrong about that before.
Cool. Hitting on 3s.
Oof.
And wounding on 5s.
Okay, that's 3.
3 wounds, AP zip.
AP zip. Oh, it still goes through for 2 damage. The Fed blow drone down to 4.
The chaplain is going to try to light up the blow drone.
The chaplain's going to try to use the bolt rifles to do some damage here.
So forget the crack grenade. Okay. The chaplain will fire his bolt guns at the blow drone.
So on 3s, 2 misses, wounding on 5s here at AP -1. That's going to be 1 wound. Needs a 4 up to save. Easy save. The drone's still on 4, which means that
Ezekiel is going to use the deliver and.
Ooh, right. Ezekiel has a special gun.
I think it's wounding on a 5.
It is wounding on a 5.
That's
It
a
wounds. It's damage 1 though, and it doesn't even go through
AP
anyway.
1, I think so. I think you're fine.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So
fine.
the deliverer, a 2 damage bolt pistol,
Um,
doesn't quite do the work. Surprise, surprise.
I am. Pistol is 2 AP.
Oh, because he's in assault
be an
doctrine. Yeah, never mind. That does do the 1
I
damage.
forgot.
Never mind. Fed blow
I
drones down to
always
3.
forget about assault
That's actually a
pistols.
big difference
So
because now the
focused on
Primaris
melee
chaplain
weapons.
only has to do 3
And it's,
successful
right, 2
wounds
damage that you reduce to
to
one.
get through.
I think that's done.
Does he have a crack grenade?
I will just decline
Oh,
to
yeah.
fire with this unit. Well, it depends. That's 14-3. Oh, that's not great.
And these poxwalkers can fall back.
Yeah, I
next
think
turn.
I gotta shoot then. Okay, Talon Master is going to shoot the Poxwalkers then.
Has to.
All at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Wound on 3.
if he doesn't kill them all in melee, you're gonna keep the objective. I'm gonna have to shoot. Okay, sure, I'll roll it all at once.
This is not where you want to be with your Dark Angels, though.
Hitting on 2s.
Yeah. Talmaster is like looking at 2 like plate
And
rush
wounding
crawlers
on
shooting
3s.
at him next turn.
That's a lot of very dead poxwalkers.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye
Yeah,
Talon Master
it's
next.
gone.
Yeah, Lockjaw is correct on that front. It'll be bye-bye Talon Master
Yeah,
next.
There was just no way to get the Talon Master close enough to protect him from these entropy cannons.
That's a big deal because that.
Okay, cool.
Oh no,
So
it
let's
still
go to
doesn't
charges.
mess with the primary like too hard.
My Deathwing Terminators will charge the blow drone over here.
Sure.
So with the death of the Talon Master next turn, if the Talon Master does in fact die, likely,
I did move, I
Um,
wasn't allowed to.
that will be the last.
Guess I could have fallen back.
That would have been the
Anyway,
last
so here's the charge.
like highly mobile unit in the army that could
7
potentially
inches with
deal
the
with this
anti-balloon.
Tallyman. Okay, which means that now this objective is totally secured for the rest of the game, no problem. The Deathwing Terminators now heading into the Fed blow drone. They have chain fists. This blow drone's probably toast. The flat 3 damage on the chain fist makes a big difference, and it's 0 cost compared to a power fist.
I love
for a
that
weapon
we
that's
just
probably
left
better.
Ezekiel to the wind again. Like.
Next we'll have Ezekiel.
Oh, there we go. Like he's remembered now.
No, he's got the room for it, and he makes it, actually. Ezekiel does make the charge, which is going to keep him near enough to the Deathwing Terminators to not get shot.
And the
So the
chaplain will
Deathwing...
charge the blow
You know
drone.
what? I'm going to go ahead and remove the Ezekiel
Dog
dies
pound.
counter, because I don't think we're updating it this game.
That's fine.
I don't
And
think we're
after-
updating it this game.
I guess that would be
We'll
a
see.
short couple of
There's still-
days.
there's
I
still
would
2
have
turns to go.
consolidation.
There's still a couple turns to go,
6
yeah.
is
Still.
consolidation, in fact.
So for those of you just joining us, we're at the bottom of turn 3 right now.
I guess we're just gonna put the Terminators out here on the outside.
And thanks to the Canticle of Hate, they just removed the blow drone, by the way. But thanks to the Canticle of Hate, they're able to pile in and
Shield
consolidate
here.
6 inches, which puts them right on the other side of the objective again, ready
Talon
to
Master cannot activate,
like
so
be
he
useful next
cannot
turn.
head for safety. I think he's just stuck.
Yeah, the Talon Master is stuck, sadly. He did a bunch of shooting. He's like, haha, I win.
Yep. I
Um,
think that is the whole turn. We don't need to do morale.
and that'll be the end of that, which brings us to EDT's turn. It's going to be another 15-point primary. He gets his 2
Maxed out
raise the
primaries.
banners, I think, this turn. Let's see what happens here, because I didn't quite hear what he was doing here. Raise the banners now up to 6. So yeah, it's going to be 2 for raise the banners. Which brings us to a 17-point swing. Again, at the start of the turn, putting us on to 69 points. Nice.
Do you want to know what the good news is?
What?
He can't score any more on primary.
You know, when you put it that way, there is good and bad, good philosophy. However, there's actually a chance here that the Death Shroud Terminators are going to try to charge and murder the Talon Master. It's something that we just saw him measure. I'm not sure how I feel about that move. Personally, I like the idea of them just sitting there, raising a banner, taking it easy. The the Demon Prince backing off, raising a banner, taking it easy, getting the full 15 points for that secondary peaceably, and he doesn't really need to worry about all this stuff. Just keep the Playburst Crawlers alive, and you're good, really.
Yeah. That's gonna be like turn 4's like Lockjaw's game plan, because he's not getting Stubborn Defiance. He needs to knock out these while we stands, like right now, to just make sure that they get even on that.
Can he?
And
do you think?
yeah, it's kind of rough, like because the Terminators kind of have to like make a long bomb charge into the Cultists like this turn, and then they have to like knock out like the Playburst Crawler turn 5, right? So
yeah,
it's kind of difficult. I mean, he can use the Cultists to screen out the PVC here, or just move them back so that he's relying on a really long charge for it as well. And obviously, the Talon Master is going to take fire this turn from the 2 Playbursts, I think, and maybe see a potential charge from the Death Shrouds coming in with the Warp Time.
Yep.
That's a thing, for sure.
He
not sure why
need to, though.
you know. So what I thought was going to happen, like, didn't happen. I thought the Talon Master was just going to like fall back and round to that objective, and then I thought the Terminators might go for like the 98-inch charge, like into the Poxwalkers.
Okay. Yeah, I would like that. Might have been an option, especially with the Canticle of Hate. That would have worked. And he would have been near enough to the Deathwings.
We had this big OPSEC beefy unit. I love the fact that the Demon Prince is still alive.
Yeah, the Demon
work.
the Demon Prince has done a lot of work. He's done more damage.
Like, you know, like.
He did more damage to a Deathwing squad than my entire Necron army did to the same unit. Like, incredible. The difference that a few mortal wounds can make.
I'm still going to stand by my point, because I was going on about like his combat stats. Was like he's not that great in combat. It was the mortal wounds came from like the Death Skull and then the Smite, like the 11 on the Smite. Like,
yeah, he's a flexible guy, and the fact that he's got a claw, a flamer, everything. He is active in every phase of the game. When you think about it, in a weird way, he's kind of like a Hive Tyrant.
Yeah.
Not as big, but he has the same kind of offensive output. Not to mention the easy access to powerful mortal wounds.
Interesting.
Ooh, 6-inch advance on those cultists offers an opportunity here for the cultists to steal the objective from Lockjaw without having to actually kill anything.
I didn't see that coming. That's really smart. Like,
and make a wall.
Yeah, that is super smart.
Yeah, and that's gonna allow.
This is why this guy won a season of Alpha. Plays like this, like.
So, well, that's a 6-inch advance. That was like a maybe situation. If he had not gone that 6 inches, he would have been very happy to take it easy, sit back, relax.
That backfield because he hit it. Oh, that's such a big deal. Like, they steal the objective for giving Lockjaw like 5 on primary, and they wall off this unit of Terminators for next turn as well. Yeah, that's horrendous.
Yeah. That's absolutely horrendous. EDT pulling out an extremely strong 6-inch advance there. And even if they hadn't made the 6-inch advance to steal the objective, they would have easily created a screen. Like, that, even if that was only a 4-inch advance or a 3-inch advance, creating a wall there for the Terminators to not be able to move past would have been a big deal. It would have been a huge deal.
That would just tilt me at this point. I mean, like, if I was playing my Death Guard, I'd be like, you know, like,
yeah.
I had fun in mind for like my last 2 turns, and you just ruined it. Like,
Protoculture brings up the fact that Canticle of Hate could be helpful here. That's absolutely true. The Primus Chaplain can advance 20 inches, so he can move up there far enough. And with a good charge roll, they could wrap around a little bit, then pile in 6 inches, consolidate towards the Sorcerer, and potentially steal that back objective. Rip down one of the banners. But if EDT's done anything this turn, the yellow Terminators have put up a banner. The purple Terminators have put up a banner. That's going to leave. That's 4 banners now, which means that if this objective isn't ripped down, it's going to be 4 points. Even if he does, that's 3 points. You know, on turn 5, another 3 points at the end of the game that the Dark Angels will not be able to remove. Period. Especially if this Talonmaster goes down. That's key. If the Talonmaster somehow survives all this, that's the big deal. Because that could kill the Tallyman, steal the objective,
Great.
rip down a banner, all that stuff.
In this game.
Yeah, like removing the tally man. It's like a big deal.
Talonmaster's taking 3 damage.
Of course.
On 3, you roll 1s. Okay, how many? You're -3, -2. Yep, that's the Talonmaster.
Yeah, he's toast.
Talonmaster is dead. Okay, big surprise there. We knew that was happening.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted them to live.
Yeah, I wanted him to live too, be the hero of the Imperium, but no dice.
fine.
Turns out that enough Plague Burst Mortars will kill, I don't know, a Whirlwind in one shot even. Never doubt the firepower of the Death Guard. They shoot better than the Tau do.
I mean, technically, right now, Imperial Guard shoot better than Tau because.
Well,
you know.
they're a gun army. That makes more sense.
Yeah, but they're guardsmen.
Sure.
They don't have to rely on Mark Lights for your ones to hit.
That's a fair point.
And this is the knights. So they save. With the
Okay.
shield.
I'm not even gonna bother rolling anything else. I'm just gonna pass it.
Alright, and now it's Lockjaw's turn. He gets 5 points for the
Did you
primary.
say
We
you
got an
wanted to
engage
call, or
on
do you
all
wanna keep
fronts
going?
for 1,
Yeah.
2, 3 quarters here for the
That's
Death Guard. Bringing their engage on all fronts up to a hearty 7, which is certainly not a bad place to be.
Perfect place to be. He's playing Death Guard.
Lockjaw still only earns 5 points for the primary, so that puts him up to 33 points based off of that. No Stubborn Defiance. Raise the banners. Still doesn't, like, I don't think ticks up this
I am not likely to
turn.
be able to reach the Sorcerer or the Talonman in the back, and definitely not the Plague Burst Crawlers here.
It's currently
because they're
talking some
blocked.
things out here. We'll
I
have
can
to see
just
what
clear out all
conclusions
your
they come to.
green here, and I can park on this objective. My captain and the Terminators. So I'll probably get 10 points on primaries next turn. I can plant 1 banner. Not a second.
Yep.
So
You got
that would
2
give me
banners
2 more
for that.
points for banners, and 10 more points on primaries.
don't
And I would get, 10 for while we stand.
put 10 on this.
Yeah, you killed the Assault Terminators, but the other squads are fine.
Cool. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, 71, 55.
They're counting up the scores. They're talking
Yeah,
about-
it's a foregone conclusion. The Death Guard just scored too many points early on.
Where's your
I
third
think
banner?
to really sort of recover in the late game.
Yeah, that's extremely brutal.
So we go 2, 4, 6.
Big oof.
and then
Raise the
10.
banners was up to 15. It's super rare we've seen that, but like that was 14 apparently. Never
Yeah, because I
mind.
don't think you had.
Forget what
three on
I
the
said.
first turn. That was
I
the one.
went
Like,
two. I went
Updating
2, 4, 6,
scores.
and then 2,
Okay.
4, and the last turn, I would go
Still updating
4,
scores.
and then
Processing.
okay, I follow you. That's fine.
And then so 10, 3, and 2.
Yeah, well, good game, man.
That was like a matchup, I think, for you. In the
Wow.
six.
Woof. Yeah, like.
All right, so let's go ahead and mute them for a second. An incredible game out of the Death Guard here. They really did well, despite the fact that Morty died. Morty did what he needed to do for just long enough that the other flank for the Dark Angels collapsed.
Yeah.
Oops,
That
that's a slight
that was me.
problem.
That was a huge issue because, granted, like, yeah, sure, you kill Mortarion. There's still these 2 units of Death Shroud, the Demon Prince, the Foul Blight Spawn, just crumpling that flank completely by themselves. And, you know, because it was his weaker flank, but so EDT stroke EtomChin definitely had, like, more resources on that flank than Lockjaw did. So he was
Yep.
able to clean that. And the fact that he kind of got bottled down trying to deal with Mortarion kind of kept him off the other flank as well.
Yeah,
And the
one-
cottage play is what won it. You know, the 60 advance on those cottage just going, you're not backfield objective like ever. You know.
yeah.
Like-
I mean, even if that was a
That-
4, like I said, if that was a 3-inch advance, that still would have done the same trick and protected the sorcerer for another turn.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the big issue again was, yeah, I agree with you that there wasn't enough on the one flank to really stop EDT from eventually crushing the flank with the Stubborn Defiance objective. If that Stubborn Defiance objective had gone off, I mean, it'd be 70 points right now instead. But that same flank would have still collapsed, you know, and everything else. one of the problems with a Deathwing list like this is that it doesn't have the mobility to react to threats that quickly where it needs to.
I'm actually surprised that
Mhm.
the Dark Angels did not take deploy scramblers and just go to the Death Guard. Like, you can warp time Morty up, but now that I've got the Servitors in reserve and my command squad in reserve, I'm forcing your Death Shroud to stay back and screen, and I'm forcing your Poxwalkers to stay back and screen.
Yeah.
Because I think that gave him like a huge advantage, like on the primary, because all of a sudden he could just move his Poxwalkers forward onto that mid-board objective, because he was dealing with Mortarion. And then at like turn 2, turn 3, he was getting 15 like primary, because the Poxwalkers weren't required to screen at that point.
Yeah. Mind you, Scramblers in a list where you have a highly elite list like this is difficult. You're dedicating resources.
He's kind of built. He's kind of baked it in. Like, that's the reason why he's got the command squad and the Servitors, right?
Yeah, and like the Servitors could have gone in, but with the long board edge being where it is, just to quickly like show this part off, because of where the deployment zones were, with the long board edges being the deployment zones, you can't deploy within 6 inches of that. And in Dawn of War, that means you have a very small area where you can deploy your Servitors. EDT, seeing that, would have easily screened out the one side and the other side with a Tallyman and a Playburst Crawler, and would have stopped deploy Scramblers with 2 models. I
guess it was just an option. Like, I mean, he could have just, I don't know. Like, we'll talk to them in a minute, but maybe deep striking some Terminators could have been a potential play, because the Death God list wants to go forward, and if it goes forward, that's it. You know, it's really difficult to deal with. Whereas if you have a couple, like 1 or 2 Terminator squads maybe in deep strike, then that means that they can't go forward all of a sudden, or maybe like the deploy scramblers, like I said.
Yeah, and I can see your point there, but again, I think he needed to start with everything on the board, so that way when Morty did hit, he had everything within 9 inches, so that way no charges failed. Like, even with Gantical Hate, a 7-inch charge is not what you want to have to deal with. A 4-inch charge is much easier at that stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's just, again, with everything on the board, it means that everything's kind of set in stone, and with units as slow as Terminators, it becomes a problem, especially when you're, you know, not castling around the one objective, and you aren't just trying to crush the one flank, which might have been a strategic decision that could have benefited. But yeah, we'll have to talk to them in a second once we get the interviews up and running. Where are they exactly?
They're in TTS. So what we can do is we can just go to like an alpha room and do stuff there if you want to.
Yeah, that might be best.
So it's easier than me bringing them up into this chat. Quite honest.
Alpha
so 2. If you want to,
Protoculture, to answer your question, the Terminators on the bottom left got 2 things that happened to them. First, they did not kill the Demon Prince. Second, the Demon Prince used the place called Cotilla and killed 3 of them.
And a smite, which was
a smite, which killed another one. The last one died in shooting to the foul Blight spawn, roasting them with his ridiculous blaze sprayer. Yeah, it's pretty nasty, to say the least.
Join them on TTS or join Alpha 2, and then we can do that stuff there.
Sounds groovy.
See you there.
Guess not.
Hey gents, do you guys mind meeting us in Alpha 2?
Sure.
Alpha 2, sure thing.
Okay, and we are now here in Alpha 2. We are going to be joined by EDT and Lockjaw. Lockjaw's already here. Hey Lockjaw, how's it going?
Hey Slowwolf, what's going on, man?
Not much, and EDT, welcome.
Thank you. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. That was a hell of a game, and it is also the first game we've seen Morty die. So congratulations to Lockjaw for that moral victory and that first on the stream. That said, that was brutal.
Yeah.
That was brutal. Erever, what were your thoughts on it overall?
Wait, can we talk about the play skull?
We are going to talk about the play skull.
I was about to jump right in on that. Like, that was insane. Like, the play skull followed up by the smite from like the Demon Prince. It was just like
play skull for 9 and then super smite for 4.
Yeah, I was just I was flabbergasted
so
at that point.
Mortal wounds are good, it turns out.
Yeah. We were talking about how that was kind of like, it wasn't a pivotal in terms of like outcome, but in terms of like kind of momentum, that was huge.
But it was before then that I thought there was a pivotal moment. Was when the command squad failed their invulnerable save when the Demon Prince attacked them. Because if they had made it, there's a good chance those 9 attacks from Thunderhammers would have killed the Prince, in which case, no Plague Skull, no Smite, and I would still have 7 Terminators on that pocket, keeping Stubborn Defiance.
That was a big deal. The interruption, I felt, was a pretty big deal, for sure. And the fact that he did kill the command squad was... yeah, that was definitely a huge moment, and that crushed the flank by itself. That alone won EDT that flank for sure. Turns out that interrupting is good.
Yeah,
I could have put more models over there to stop that flank from collapsing, but if I didn't, I probably would not have killed Mortarion. And I think I put exactly the right amount of resources into Mortarion because he just barely died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how my army works, though. Is like I'll have a flank that's just Death Shroud and Blight Spawn and Demon Prince, and like you have to commit more to the other side. And then I make sure that I commit just enough to win the other side too. But like I think we were just talking about that like that swing would have got you like more primary, so you would have had 10 every turn for the rest of the game at least. And so that would have been another 10 points or so. And then let's say like I assumed that I was gonna like pull this game out with you maxing Stubborn Defiance and primary. So I don't think like that swing was like game breaking, but in terms of like why it became such a like blowout near the end, like that totally was the stupid dice on the Plague Skull.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. If that Stubborn Defiance had been allowed to live longer, that would have made a big difference. If that flank hadn't collapsed, like if it was 7 Terminators versus 6 Terminators and the Foul Blight Spawn, I think that would have been a much more even matchup, and it might have been a very different game.
Probably a stalemate on that side, for sure.
Close one.
It would have been much closer. I don't think it would have been a tie, but it would have been much closer. Especially with the cultists getting that 6-inch advance, and that was also kind of just a kick in the teeth, really, into Lockjaw's side of the field.
Yeah.
They were going to get warp time anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. I'd forgotten that you could still just do that. Okay, so a couple of things. EDT, when you got the first turn, was that a happy moment for you or a stressful moment for you?
I don't know. I was clueless. We talked pregame that I was like always. I'm on the mindset of always yeet Morty, and like I've definitely not yeeted Morty and been kind of burned by it.
Yeah.
So I realized that I could have got Morty in on. I thought it was going to be a longer charge, but then when I kind of looked at it later, it was like probably only a 5 or so. So I probably could have thrown Morty turn 1. But honestly, I've been playing Drukhari a little bit, and I'm thinking mentally that I'm Drukhari, and so mentally I'm like, you know what? Let's just warp time a drone, and let's just turn banners off turn 1.
Yeah, no, that was great. I
play
thought, and it get Mortarion being on that mid board, considering he was like really slow moving. The attack bikes were all behind ruins, so they're having to like skirt around and such. It gave you the 15-point primary on turn 1. It was a big deal.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And then like the other flank was like in threatening range of Demon Prince and Terminator, so it was like he didn't really have a good way to push onto the other one, and he obviously like wasn't going to push into Morty, so it was like it worked out.
There was one thing we were really confused by, like turn 1 with so do you want to just throw up the game sec on the stream?
Yeah. I closed it out. Sorry, my bad.
Okay, never mind.
Are we getting an instant replay after the game? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're gonna do a replay
Great
thing here. Right, so like these Death Shroud, over here, they were, if my memory recalls correctly, they were behind this ruin.
Yeah.
And 2 of them had their bases flipped over.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning behind that? Like,
my bases were just colliding with the terrain.
Got you. But were you meant to be touching this, or were we meant to be behind it?
No. I was trying to hide as close as possible to it, but they kept colliding.
Right, that makes more sense now, because we on stream we were like, is he touching that? Because the attack bikes could have like had an avenue to like shoot into these, so we were like really confused, like what was going on with that. So no.
In fact, Aerovort, you can see I put the token down there. I've started doing this to putting markers to indicate when something's on or off terrain.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right, okay.
And we did discuss that, and he said how he wanted to be close to but not touching terrain, and of course I honor that.
All right, okay, that makes more sense now. We're like, has he forgotten to shoot these attack bikes maybe? Because like, the bases that were turned over were like...
it was like a clipping, like at like a full half inch. It was like weird. It wasn't even like...
that's what I figured was happening. Yeah, there's definitely that happens, especially with the 3D rendered models like this, which look great, but they definitely have some hitbox issues, which can make it frustrating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing we were wondering about as well was when the attack bikes were in combat with the Demon Prince, like over here, we were thinking you'd use the fallback strat after they fought, like just to get them around here. What was did you think to that, or was it just like
the reason I didn't do that Aerovore was because he activated the Prince first. He killed 2 of my attack bikes, and at that point I had 1 attack bike left. And looking at my CP resource, I didn't really think it was worth 2 CP to save 1 attack bike.
That makes sense.
In retrospect, it probably was worth it, because if they did pull out my apothecary, I could bring one back from the dead. And 2 CP for 2 attack bikes, that's probably about right.
Yeah.
No, I
I
think
just
Ever
wasn't anticipating the revival.
Eric was saying you could have used the fallback and shoot strat, and then find yourself in range to pull back another one.
Oh yeah, Intractable. Yeah, you could have. But once again, I was thinking, is it worth paying 2 CP to get 1 attack bike shooting? I also didn't have a lot of good targets with it, because I couldn't shoot at Mortarion or the Blowtron or the Demon Prince with the attack bike.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, ending the game with 5 CP is like, oh no, because at that point, it's
oh
like,
my god!
But
I didn't even notice.
You have so much CP, so it's one of those things where it's like, man, you could have used more. There were moments where it's like, man, I could have been hitting with those chain fists on 2s earlier, or stuff like that, where I'm like, okay, he's being reserved with the CP usage, that's fine. But one of the other things we talked about was that against the Morty list, you typically need to start getting it, like fighting against the Death Guard advantage, the Mortarion advantage, turns 1 and 2 in particular. Like that's where you spend almost all your CP to make sure that, you know, you kind of wrench back the initiative a little bit. Is that something that you thought of, or were you thinking that you would have been able to wrench it back eventually anyway?
Well, I think I did spend most of my CP on the right flank, attacking Mortarion. Like I gave the 2 CP for +1 to wound and the +1 AP, and I did get the +1 to hit on the chain fist when they were attacking Mortarion. I did not spend that much CP on the left because I was just counting how much resources I was spending on this Demon Prince, and I thought, this is about fair. I'm going to kill the Demon Prince. This is a good exchange. But either my math was off or the dice were off. Who knows? It obviously didn't work. And in retrospect, I wish I had used Fury the First and maybe Intractable on the left to put more resources into the Demon Prince. I probably did undercalculate that.
Yeah, and honestly, that's fair. That's fair. And like honestly, when it comes to having 7 Terminators, dealing with 1 Demon Prince, it's easy, especially when you're playing Dark Angels, to get maybe like a little bit confident that will be easy to deal with. Deathwing Terminators don't go down easily, right? Unless if it's mortal wounds. And I don't think anybody was expecting that Plague Skull to go off quite as hard as it did. EDT, in all your games, has that Plague Skull ever done that, or is this the first?
Nah, that is.
Yeah, I've never seen it do that. Like, I've run it before.
The most legendary, most legendary Plague Skull performance, and then Mortal Wound. Also, he was wounding through Transhuman consistently with no Plague rerolls. He has never done that for me. He's usually a bum.
Yeah, remember the last time you were on stream, you're like, man, my Demon Prince could hit the gym? I think he did.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, he actually did last time. That was what we said. He was the guy to hit the gym, and turns out he did. Good
job, dude. That might not change your opinion of him, but that was very impressive from our point of view.
Yeah, he has a good story one day, but overall performance still subpar.
Lockjaw, your chaplain. You have the pennant of the you have the -1, you have the invulnerable save reliquary, the reliquary of the repentant. Yep. There we go. Yep. That thing seemed to work wonders against Morty in that last turn, forcing that thing to be a 5-up invulnerable save. I think saved, stopped, I think 3 or 4 different 4-ups from going through, and protecting him. How often does that come up? And in this situation, do you think that even if it might come up rarely, it's still worth putting into a lot of different Dark Angels lists?
Paying 1 CP to reduce my opponent's invulnerable save by 1 is a pretty big game. I would say probably half of my opponent's armies have invulnerable saves that are better than 5+.
Yeah.
Maybe more. I mean, not to mention Harlequins, Chaos, all kinds of armies. Anybody with a Storm Shield, it comes up all the time. And now it's pretty small bubble. It's only 3 inches, and it's only around the chaplain. So it's kind of like, it's essentially like using the spell Jinx. I basically have access to Jinx, except it's not a psychic power, and it's just this 3-inch bubble around the chaplain. And Mortarion is a great application of it. we could name 10 others, but I have a lot of success with it, and I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I guess
imagine it's
3-up.
actually really nasty against like Dark Eldar now too, because they have the Shadowfield save at a 2+.
Yeah.
Just Lord of Change, like anything 3-ups is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially on the model that can
Custodes,
advance
Magnus.
20 inches.
Yep.
Ezekiel performed well, to say the least.
Didn't
I think
die.
him denying
Amazing.
miasma twice was
Twice.
really
He
twice.
shut me down consistently, yeah. He was
That-
also throwing mortals out.
He dealt 5 wounds to Morty by himself at least, I think. He dealt the lion's share of damage as one model compared to everybody else. And he didn't die, which is the first time on stream, which means that we didn't
Right,
get to
so
update
no.
our Ezekiel dice
Oh,
counter.
I'm going to stop you there. First time on stream, didn't die. First time on stream, we've ever seen a Psychic Hood come into effect as well.
That was
First time in a
sick.
game anyone's ever remembered to use it.
Yeah.
Almost makes you think you could give him the +1 to deny hood from 24 inches, but then you realize no, that's not a good idea. You can't give it to him anyway.
No. Yeah, Ezekiel's an all-star every time.
Yeah, he was huge. I don't really have any more questions. Erever, what do you have?
Oh no, that's about it. I think you both played it like really well. You know, there was a couple of like dice swings like here and there, which were unfortunate. Like we already covered that. Like here with the Demon Prince, like just the plague skull, the ancient relic upon Terminus itself, though clearly, you know, like just doing like maximum effect, which crushed the flank. We were actually weirdly like discussing like, what if he'd taken Stubborn Defiance over here? Like, you know, like...
I was very tempted to do that. I thought it was a bad idea putting Stubborn Defiance right in Mortarian's path.
We were clutching at straws for you at that point. I think we were just like, yeah, you know, it makes sense it being over here, but, you know, if it was over here, it's just one of those things, you know, hindsight's 20/20 and all that.
Raise the Banners was also an interesting pickup, actually, from a perspective of a Dark Angels player, I think. Why Raise the Banners? Why not something like Deploy Scramblers? And I explained my point of view already, but why did you go for Raise the Banners over something like Deploy Scramblers?
So Deploy Scramblers I ruled out pretty quickly because I know how EDT's army work. I've seen him play many times, and he has quite a lot of models that he's going to keep in the backfield between the Plague Burst Crawlers, the Cultists, the Talon Man. A lot of this stuff is going to screen out his deployment zone. I think there was a 0% chance if I had taken Deploy Scramblers, he would leave me a single centimeter of space to land in the command squad to deploy Scramblers. So that one I dismissed pretty quickly. Yeah, there. See, I think EDT agrees completely. So that leaves a couple other good options. I did consider Cut Off the Head, which I was discussing before the game, hoping to kill Mortarion. It's not a crazy idea. I thought Grind Them Down wouldn't work very well because I have to focus so much into Mortarion.
Yeah.
So that doesn't leave a whole lot of options. I thought Raise the Banners is going to be an easy 10. I thought at the very least I can put up banners in my home objectives. It's just you're not going to shift my Deathwing Terminators off these things, so I'm just going to park on these 2 banners the whole game. And I thought that was an easy 10, and that seems pretty good compared to what my other options were at that stage. So that's what I went with. Clearly didn't work out, largely because of Warp Time and the Plague Skull. I wonder if there was a better choice if you were in that seat with the information I had at the beginning of the game.
No, I'd agree. Grind Them Down was definitely not an option because of the fact that you're dealing with, just 2 things. One, you're not going to be able to kill that many units to get Grind Them Down often, and second, it's taking up the same spot as Longest We Fight.
Yeah,
which is what earned you 10 of your secondaries. Like, that was well worth it. And then your other options, like you said, I mean, you've got Cut Off the Head. Like, who does that?
It's like a play. Like, I think you got.
It's not a bad play in this situation.
It would have been 10 points this game. I killed him on round 2.
Yeah. I think, like, you're obviously built for Stubborn Defiance and While We Stand, so you're going to take those and presume to get 25 between the 2 of them. And then, then it's obviously banner or Cut Off the Head, and you kind of assume you're not going to get more than 10 on Cut Off the Head, and, like, potential upswing of 10 plus with banners is kind of probably what you assume.
It is riskier, though, especially with your army as fast as it is, though, EDT.
I mean, the thing is, like, I don't think, like, he was expecting, like, that to be the play, necessarily.
It was a really good play. like zipping up there and stopping Raise the Banners on that one objective for like a full 2-3 turns, and then the other flank collapsing the way that it did, sadly, meant that Raise the Banners just didn't do what it was supposed to do. That said, Raise the Banners was your third pick, right? You're not expecting your third pick secondary to be a good one. I think when you're picking secondaries, is that a fair thing to say? Like, it's usually the clutching at straws pick, and your first two picks are like your first pick is like, I'm guaranteed like good to do this.
Yeah,
I built my
first
list to do
two-
this, and then the second one's like,
Exactly.
this should be good. The third one, you're like, okay, I'm not sure about this one, but it's my best bet. It's
Yeah.
just a shame that your first two didn't work out quite the way you intended. While you stand, we fight, yes, but Stubborn Defiance going down the way it did was a shame for sure.
Plague Skull OP.
Plague Solo, man.
It never does
You
that.
heard it here
When
first.
are they gonna
I've
FAQ
done
that?
like 5 times, and I've dealt like 2 mortal wounds or something.
When are they gonna FAQ that stupid Plague Skull?
But the thing is, it has the potential to do that, and variance kicks in sometimes, folks. So you know that's a big deal. Okay, so I want to unless if we have any more serious questions, there are fluffy questions that I always like to ask. Specifically to see where the players thought the most impressive models were, or where the most pivotal moments might have happened. So Lockjaw, looking at EDT's list, and I'm pretty sure I know what the answer might be here. Who do you think was the MVP of EDT's list this game?
The demon. No, the Plague Skull that was carried by the demon. Just that one piece of plastic.
That what? It might not even be modeled on most models in real life, honestly. If someone models their relics on their models, be our guest. But yeah, that Plague Skull did work.
EDT now has to. Like, I know he owns Demon Prince in real life. He's got to have him holding like this, like green stuff, like.
I will. I totally
With
should.
his slime, like in his hand, like with a little skull in the center. Like, it was so cool.
Make it huge. It's like the Plague Skull of some.
The size of the Demon Prince. This is a massive skull.
And,
He's carrying a bigger Plague Skull today than he usually does. He's got, like,
we got this
human
one
head,
for the
you know.
deep stench vats.
yeah.
Um,
I guess I would say I would say that the banners play for me was obviously probably the best thing I did. It wasn't like genius, but nothing with warp time is that genius. You're just like, hey, I can move twice. Like maybe I should. And I think at that point I was like, this could be a stupid play. I'm not committing Morty turn 1, and instead I'm completely I'm trading 140 points of drone for points in the game. Right, like when I threw it away, so it's like his whole army gets to dogpile that drone. It's gonna die, but it stops a banner for 2
And
turns.
gets you for engage, so you know.
And gets me engaged. Exactly. And so it's like, I mean, it felt a little bit risky, but in hindsight, it worked out.
Well, it worked out great. Stopping
I think
banners that early was
Yeah,
solid.
if you start thinking of your army as kind of resources that you spend to score points, that was definitely a proper expense of resources, expenditure.
Yeah, agreed. And then it turns out that one mortal wound ended up being a slight difference later on when the Fleshmower was able to get a twofer off of a 1-2 wound Terminator and then getting another 2 wounds through, which is kind of like. Oof.
And then Morty killed that, which then let him pile onto the objective to stop the banners again.
Yep. That was annoying.
I needed to wipe that squad fully so that Morty could get onto that objective just to stop it again. And then the next turn, the drone drove on it again, so it was just consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I basically another strategy when you're playing someone is look at their secondaries and pick one that you think you can interact with meaningfully. And Stubborn Defiance, I felt I just knew from the beginning I didn't have a meaningful way to interact with it, especially on this deployment. If it was maybe priority targets or something, and he had spread out and he only had 1 5-man on his backfield, then maybe Morty just goes right for it.
Yeah.
But in this one, he just has so many different units that are gonna tar pit Morty that there was no way I was gonna clear Stubborn Defiance. Obviously, some crazy Plague Skull stuff happened, but I just assumed I assumed he'd have a 15 on Stubborn. I assumed while we stand, his weakest while we stand is the 5-man assault squad, so they were the first ones that I killed because they only have 1 Thunderhammer.
Yeah, and they need to come close to you too.
Totally. So my plan was get him down to 10 on while we stand, which I did. And then the last one was banners. That was the only one that I could very meaningfully interact with. So it was if I can just kind of harass this banner play and be consistent with mine, then that hopefully will balance the fact that he's going to get a 15 on Stubborn Defiance.
Mm-hmm. EDT, out of all of Lockjaw's army, which unit do you think performed the best? Which was the MVP?
I don't know. They were all like stoic characters punching Morty in the face.
Because my vote would go towards Ezekiel personally, just because
I
the
agree.
fight last twice in a row was huge.
The Captain showing the Terminators what's up. Like the Terminators did like nothing to my turn, and then he just walks in and does like 9 damage. You know.
Yeah, he did. Captain fucked me up.
That captain was huge. Yeah, proving that Thunderhammers might be worth their points still in some cases.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I think the main issue with Dark Angels right now is just how slow they are. Like, I played Dark Angels a bit too, and like I'll either play 2 Talon Masters, but I don't usually play like a 3rd bike squad. I play 2 bike squads, maybe a 3rd bike squad, but you know, those are when you kind of start shifting points more into like a little more mobility. And I don't know if it necessarily like it doesn't necessarily like over, you know, it doesn't necessarily compensate for like their weaknesses, but like when, because I also run 20 Deathwing Terminators too, and they're still super slow. But when like 20 models in your army or 1,000 points of your army has a max threat range of 17 inches, like there's just a lot of ways to like shut it down. So like the 2 or 3 turns in a row where like they're moving towards me in the corner and I'm just like, okay, show me 17, and then my cultist or my sorcerer runs backwards, and then it's like, okay, you move forwards, and I'm like, cool, show me 17, run backwards, and then it's like, okay, 50-point cultist unit's gonna go like move block you and like whatever. Just kind of like that's just a problem with Dark Angels, and like Dark Death Guard have the same problem, but the warp time splice is where like you kind of overcome that.
For sure, and they still do have some speedy units in the form of their like fetid bloat drones, some reach in terms of the Plagueburst crawlers, but yeah, that warp time made a huge difference, and I think that's where something like Ravenwing might be helpful in future competitive, like in Dark Angels lists going forward, is having a stronger Ravenwing contingent, relying a little bit less on that free transhuman super durable unit and relying a bit more on the ability to zip around the battlefield and really start harassing your opponent. It seems to be what a lot of Dark Angels players are talking about competitively right now. I know that Rallo, as a part of the casting team, has been talking about that a bit as well. So yeah, that might be a thing. Lockjaw, as far as your army goes, which unit do you think underperformed here, and is there a particular reason why?
Maybe the command squad. It is really helpful to help keep a lot of my important characters alive. The Apothecary and Chaplain are often the weak point that my opponents will capitalize on and take those away. So I like the command squad to keep them alive from, all sorts of, what's the word? Opportunistic shooting, exactly. But that being said, it's only a squad of 2, so it's difficult to raise them if you have both of them dead and the Apothecary can't raise the other. I guess it is helpful to have the flex spot, because I can't always spend 2 whole squads of Terminators to go after a threat like the Demon Prince. Sometimes I want to have 1.5 squads of Terminators go after a certain objective. So that's kind of the flex role they serve. And they're also, oftentimes I use them to deploy Scramblers, but not against an army like this that can hold off the backfield.
Yeah.
I think they were probably the least performing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, they just whiffed their invulns.
Yeah, it sucked. If they had held up their rank, they would have been fine. But
yeah, they should be hard to kill.
They were not this time, sadly.
How do you feel about your character selection, Lockjaw?
Ezekiel's fantastic. I think the Chaplain +2 to charge is really essential.
Yup.
I think the Apothecary pays for himself easily just by raising 2 Terminators, and he's made back all his points, which is trivially easily to do. Not to mention the Feel No Pain as well.
Not to mention the can't fall back strat that you use very effectively to keep your Talon Master alive a full turn.
Right. Yeah, the Stasis Shell. I wish I could have found another trick to keep the Talon Master alive a second turn, but I don't think I had any options at that point. So I think Evan's trying to get to the Captain here. The Captain is the last character I put in. He's not fantastic. I do like his Force Multiplier ability, especially he can apply to the attack bikes to give them rerolls, rerolling 1s to hit. Plus they're often hitting on 2s with Recitation of Focus. So that's the idea behind the Captain. And he also serves the role of the +1 advance in charge, so he can help basically catapult my Terminators out of my deployment zone onto the midfield pretty quickly with +1 to advance to like all of my Terminators who need to advance up the score of the field to really get ahead on primaries. I got to take the midfield. That being said, I'm not totally sworn on the Captain, and maybe I'll try a different slot next time. next tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the captain for what he was doing, and if you're going Deathwing Terminator heavy, that +1 to advance is a big deal. But yeah, I see your point for sure.
He
I kinda
did
like
do a
the bite.
ton of damage to Mortarians.
Yeah. Like that Thunderhammer worked.
He earned his points, like he
Yeah.
just walked into Mortarion and just hit him with a Thunderhammer, which is one of those like novel like level Space Marine things at that point, that you get in 40K books. So that was great to see.
Yeah, totally.
EDT, looking at your list, we know about the Demon Prince and how you feel about him, but is there anything that you felt underperformed in your list this game that you would have wished had done more?
I mean, Morty didn't do much. He killed 2 models, but yeah. I mean, I've kind of garbage bin this list, unfortunately.
Oh no!
But yeah, I'm jumping on the Drukhari train, but I'm like a shameless meta chaser, so that's just kind of my flavor of the week. But I just think the meta is shifting away from like big brick armies, so like Death Stars, like Mortarion himself. I totally understand like the Death Guard players that are like I totally understand the Death Guard players that are like, I don't want to put 500 points into one unit. I totally don't understand the Death Guard players that are like, I play mono Death Guard, because you are
you're
making a mistake.
You need that warp attachment.
You need warp time. Yeah. But yeah, I think like playing a more consistent army would be dropping Mortarion and playing like more Terminators, right? But I don't really love that playstyle. If I'm going to do that, I think I'd rather play Dark Angels because they're actually more resilient. And then something fast. So I think the Drukhari is just crazy good right now.
Yeah.
Crazy good.
Yeah, they are extremely good right now. They hit extremely hard, and from what I can see from what like some of the live tournaments have been showing results wise, Drukhari are absolutely wrecking the circuit right now.
Totally. Like my buddy Nick, who's from Alpha League, who I've met playing in Alpha League, is he won that GT Fabricators Forge with Drukhari, and I think the idea is like your army is super diversified into smaller units. Like it is a ton of MSU, it's a ton of OBSEC, but then at the same point you have these like 90-point raiders. So like if there's a bad swing in my army, I lose Morty. I lose 500 points. If there's a bad swing in his army, he loses like 180 points of raiders. Like that's a bad swing. So it's like you'd rather be diversified so that you're not losing like huge units if the dice go badly for you.
Yeah,
and then they have like they have mortal, they have mortal wound spam. They have fight last. They have there's a lot of good ways to
leadership shenanigans.
Blades, they have everything.
And that'll be a discussion that we need to get into, like when the next season like starts up and the Drukhari book becomes a part of that. But for right now, you're still playing this all eggs in one basket list, and it seems to be working for you so far. So we'll have to see whether or not it goes further along. Did you end up winning all your games?
Yeah, so I am 4-0, and I think, like, to be fair, the lists that are locked in for this season, I think this list actually does have a really good shot to go most of the way.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens if it goes up against Demon Forged or something. Having the Morty off might be interesting.
Yeah, I think Triple Knight Megara will be interesting against your list.
Oh god, yeah. Clingy made it too. He was in my pod, and that was...
And Glarks made it with his list. So that'll be.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Look, long story short, there's gonna be some interesting competition in the playoffs.
Okay, cool.
So good luck to you, sir. And
at least it's not Admech.
Yeah, at least it's not Admech. Speaking of which, Lockjaw, congratulations to you for doing as well as you did, and for putting up a fight, and for being the only person to kill Morty on stream. The only one. So you can take a morale victory there, at least.
Will that get me into the playoffs?
Sadly not, but that does get you my eternal respect and admiration.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of why I brought the Deathwing Knights. Those guys do incredible amount of damage, and Keystone Target like Mortarion is right where they want to be. Yeah,
if you're gonna bring anything that's Deathwing, I don't see why you wouldn't bring the Knights. They are just Assault Terminators, but better.
They're so much more expensive, is a thing. So are they worth, the extra 40 points? They're like 20% more expensive, and that's why.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Flat 3 damage hitting on 2s is absolutely worth it. Yeah. It turns out.
And you give them +1 to wound, too.
Oh my gosh, and +1 to hit. Like, they're so good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, you two. You take it easy, and thanks again for hopping on stream to show off your game.
Yeah, really great game, guys. Really appreciate it. Great to have S5 winner and Season 6 winner come together for the last game we're streaming in group stage. So thank you very much. Your time was pretty good.
Great game. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, go check out the YouTube channel. always plug in. We stream games every Sunday. Go watch the competitive standard.
I'll drop a
40K.
link to that right now. That's what's it called again? Sorry, my brain's
The competitive standard 40K. Me and Nick from Alpha League, who just won the last GT. Solid players. Go watch us break down tactics for you and have great games. We'll have one for you tomorrow. We're gonna run new Drukari that just won that G against the list that was in the finals. So it would be a finals rematch of the GT Fabricators Forge.
Interesting. All right. Well, and yeah, everybody check that out. EDT again, season winner from season 5, potentially season winner for season 7 as well.
Whoa! Don't jinx it.
I'm not trying. I said potentially. Lockjaw, season winner from season 6, putting up an extremely strong fight. Thank you to you both for coming on. Erever, do you have any plugs that we need to do here? And I'm assured that we do.
Yeah, so thanks everyone. I'm going to say this now. Thanks everyone that took part in group stage. It was really good to see that we limited the number of slots like this season and it filled up so fast. That actually surprised me. So thank you very much for everyone that took part this season. Great to show your support for the TTS40K community in our competitive sector on the server. So big thank you to all the players. Thank you very much to the judge team, the admin team, and everyone else that Slow Wolf for doing this. You know, couldn't do without you guys. So big thank you to all you guys. Just wanted to get out of the way for like group stage. You know, so thank you very much. We'll be moving into playoffs as of like next week. So we'll have more games streamed of that throughout the playoff brackets. So we're not done. We've still got another 4 weeks to go. Another 4 weeks where we don't have to worry about Drukari, which is like awesome.
For now.
After that, then yeah. As to where you can find me and stuff like that, I have a little Twitch channel. We're actually having a good time over there. We're painting models. We're trying to do like, because I started like Death Guard like real life like during lockdown, as opposed to just playing on TTS. So we're building up an army on the stream. We're answering a lot of questions. We're having some great chats, a lot of hobby hangouts. Right, I only play it on stream now. It's great. Like I actually really enjoy it. You know, it actually motivates me to play.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and find me on twitch.tv/Aravo. I will not the link in. My stream times are just random because my work shifts are random. So just follow me for like notifications when I go live and stuff like that. And then on Friday night, we do a Friday night battle on 40K TTS. EDT was actually on the last one and smashed me to pieces. So like it's a weird game. It's a really weird game.
Yeah, I also forgot all those witches had an extra 10 attacks, and I forgot all my stratagems. So
that's fine. I just moved to the middle to see like what happened. So it was a mistake for me like on both those words. Yes, check me out there. Other than that, guys, come along to 40K TTS Discord server if you're not already a part of that. If you're new to the hobby, found us like through a random Twitch search or whatever, we have a great mentor team that can help you out, get you started with the game, get you started with TTS. If you purchased that on Steam or are looking to purchase it on Steam. Other than that, we have great looking for game chat. At least takes like 5 minutes to find a game of 40K, whether it be like narrative, casual, semi-competitive, competitive. And then we have 2 great events running. We have Alpha League, which obviously I run and we are shooting content for. And if you're not into that, we have War on 7 Fronts, which is the great and awesome narrative campaign that a lot of people are having fun in. So go join that. If you miss any of the content on here from like last season, this season, whatever, it's all up on our YouTube. So let me just go ahead and find the link for that quickly. And other than that, yeah, great to be here. Great game. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you for co-casting with me. Again, that was Erever, our tournament organizer and my co-caster for today. Without him, I would have no voice left. That said, it's also worth mentioning that you should go ahead and check out our Patreon, or at least the Patreon for the Warhammer TTSWH40K Discord and community in general. Being able to support that will allow us to start activating stuff like prize support, more tournaments, all that stuff. And yeah, that kind of support means a lot to us. Speaking of which, I'd like to go ahead and thank, let's see, who was it? I'm looking at the list right now. Lots of people following, for starters, so thank you to everybody that followed. And we actually had a subscription earlier today. There we are. Nerdle Matthew, thank you for the subscription, as well, as that will also go towards the channel and making it continue to provide an incredible amount of content. At least that's what we're hoping for. I'd like to thank all of you for coming by and watching the game. Without you in the community, there would be no game, there would be no league, there would be no tournament. So without you, there would be no way. And I mean that sincerely. So thanks again for everybody watching. If you liked the stream, be sure to go ahead and follow, hit the bell for notifications when the stream goes live. We do podcasts on Sundays. There will be a podcast tomorrow. We're going to be talking about a very interesting topic or two, so be sure to check it out. We're also going over the stats for the playoffs, what factions did what and everything. Well worth it. You can find that on this Twitch TV channel tomorrow, 5 p.m. EST/1900 UTC. If you're looking for
UTC.
Sorry, which number UTC?
2100.
2100 UTC. Thank you very much. I do not know how to math. With that said, let's go ahead and close off with my plugs. I am on Twitter as Twitter at SlowWolf. You can find me there. You can find me on YouTube, where I've got my own gaming videos and such, and I put out my my Alpha League games so long as they aren't too embarrassing. You can find me over at twitch.tv/SlowWolf, where I do my own streams, where I've been trying to get that streaming back off the ground on a more regular basis. And I used to paint. Maybe I should get back to doing some painting and everything like Arrowver as well, where I'll be painting up Necrons, Tau, Space Marines, you name it. There's all kinds of stuff I need to get through, as well as some dwarves. That's going to do it. Thanks again, everybody, so much for watching. We hope that you folks enjoy yourselves. If you did, be sure to let us know. Hit the follow button. Give us any feedback you can find and that you think would be useful for us as well. We are constantly looking to improve the stream and make it better for everybody and a better viewing experience. And make it more entertaining for everyone, and to make it more educational. We try to learn from these games as well. Speaking of which, you can go ahead and learn how to play the game and how to maneuver TTS over on the Discord. There are mentors there that can help you out, so check out the Discord. And that will do it. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. We hope you folks enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you folks in the next battle report, far in the future of the 41st millennium. We love you. Bye for now.
Bye now.